Welcome in to Doug Kingsmore Stadium here on a beautiful Stadium here on a beautiful Wednesday night in Clemson, South Carolina. The homestanding Tigers looking for revenge in a midweek showdown with the USC Upstate Spartans. Hi, everybody. Alongside Ron Smith, I'm William Qualcomm. Thanks so much for joining us today. Coach, about 2 months ago, the Tigers took it on the chin from this very same Spartan squad, 12-2. So revenge on their minds and a chance to bolster the postseason resumes in both dugouts tonight.
It's just an important game for both teams tonight. USC Upstate is a very solid baseball team, very experienced. They can hit, they can pitch, and but they're facing a different Clemson team as well. This Clemson team has really come on. Both teams are in the middle of winning streaks, so it's going to be an interesting night.
Yeah, one guy who's playing his best baseball right now, couldn't say that 2 months ago, Caden Grice. What a weekend he just had in a sweep of Louisville for the Tigers.
Just so impressive in such a huge series. He takes 2 pitches out of the park, oppo, and then he gets one home run that he hits to right field that was just absolutely blasted. He teed off on that one, and he's also able to put the bat on the ball and drive some balls in the holes and get the RBIs. A huge weekend for him.
Now you see those numbers, 1692 slugging, 12 RBIs, and 13 at-bats. And we're expecting a show from him tonight against a very good Spartans team. And here's a lineup that USC Upstate is going to be rolling out there tonight. 7 right-hand batters. Coach, this is a team that can rake. A lot of JUCOs, a lot of veteran players in this lineup for the Spartans. And
they're not a team that hits a lot of home runs, but they hit line drives, and you're right. Veteran players, these guys have been around, they're very confident, and this young man leading off is pretty good.
Yeah, Jack Hennessy, we'll say more about him in a second. He's going to be facing Davis Sharp. Now, this was a Friday night guy for the Tigers coming into the season, had some elbow trouble, making his first appearance on the mound since March 12th.
Well, this is a big start for him. I wouldn't think he's going to go more than a couple of innings here. I know that he's had a bullpen and he's faced a few batters, but he's a guy that, you're right, projected preseason. He's a Friday night guy.
And he's facing a guy who's very familiar with Clemson baseball, Jack Hennessy, whose brother Jacob was a left-handed pitcher on the mound for the Tigers. You see the hometown Moore, South Carolina. He hit in the 9 spot back in March when these two teams played and scored a couple of runs. And he's going to get aboard with a walk on 4 pitches against Sharp, and that's the last thing, if you're a Clemson fan in the ballpark, you want. As you can hear the Spartans dugout, they are already into this game big time.
That looked like Sharp is just rushing things a little bit, maybe needs to break his hands a little sooner, stay back. It just looked like he's rushing a little bit.
Now Noah Rebon, freshman, third baseman. And there's a strike from Sharp.
I would think that Upstate's going to be aggressive here. Hennessy, 9 of 11 stolen bases.
Oh, lifted to center. Teodosio coming on. He'll make the catch. Going to try to double up Hennessy, but won't be able to.
Well, a softly hit line drive, and Teodosio, like he usually does, gets a great jump and makes it look easy. That's the mark of a really good center fielder, when he makes what could be a pretty tough play, made that look easy. He closed on that very quickly.
Now Devin Buckner, the DH, you see the 991 OPS. You talked about the low home run numbers, but productive. 36 runs batted in for the junior. He drove in one on a 2-hit day back here in March.
You see actually the first slider from Sharp.
He's a cutter slider guy, and we'll see the movement, especially coming off a little elbow tenderness for a couple of months. How crisp are those pitches?
But he's been up and in with his fastballs to the right-handed hitters. Again, I think that's a function of just rushing a little bit.
2-0 the count.
I'd like to see Hackenberg maybe lower that target a little bit,
Sharp has been back in the lineup and playing some first base for this team. He Sort of an extended absence at the plate, but he started each of the last 7. There's a ground ball. That's through the right side, and Hennessy's going to try to take third and will. Good base running there for the Spartans, and now the first run of the ballgame's 90 feet away with 1 out. A good single there by the number 3 batter.
Well, Buckner just, you see that big hole, the big 4 hole, and Hall was almost behind second base, so the shift might have hurt the Tigers in that particular case. That ball was not hit hard.
A little C&I single there for the Spartans, but this is how they do it. They nickel and dime you to death. They run the bases well, and they put themselves in positions to get runs. That's how you get to 30-9 on the season.
Now, another thing that happens is, you got a guy on third base, less than 2 outs, you put the ball in play. That's, you got an 80% chance of scoring that run if you just put the ball in play. Of course, the Tigers are looking for a double play ball.
There's Jason Matthews, senior from New Zealand. Again, 30 RBIs on the season. Another guy who's productive without having to hit the long ball. And Sharp falls behind him 2-0.
Ball's up. Fastballs have been up.
Matthews is a .326 batter with runners in scoring position, almost identical to his batting average overall, and that time Sharp threw the cutter by him.
Good pitch on the outside part of the plate. And a good swing by Matthews. He was aggressive.
Sharp, a guy this season, 20 innings, 13 walks, 27 strikeouts, though. He's got a tendency to try to get a punch out in this situation. Bounces one up there. It's 3-1.
Well, I just thought Sharp was so impressive a couple of years ago as a freshman to come in and to be able to hit and pitch so effectively.
Big pitch here. Swing and a miss. Jack Gallagher is on deck right now. As you see this 2-strike pitch, good.
Yeah, good late movement. You mentioned that cutter. He just barely getting that coming off of his index finger. Gets that late movement.
Little looper. That's going to find grass. And it's a 1-0 Spartans lead. RBI for Matthews. That'll give him 31 on the season. And a manufactured run if ever there were one.
You can see that ball's on the outer third. It was really off the end of the bat. And again, not hit real hard. Hall made a nice effort on it, but really had no chance to catch that ball.
And if you're the Spartans, you're licking your chops right now. First and second, 1 out for this guy. 3 homers, 37 runs batted in. And Jack Gallagher drove in 7 of the 12 runs in the first meeting between these teams. Had a 3-run double in the second inning and a grand slam that really punctuated the night for USC Upstate late in the ball game.
There's the slider. And Sharp has fallen behind 3 of the 5 hitters that he's faced.
.2-0 pitch. Hit on the ground. Grice knocks it down. And a scoop and a throw to Sharp. Well, if he doesn't field his position there, Davis Sharp, you may not get an out as far away as Grice had to range behind the bag.
That was a ball that just kind of took a weird hop for Grice, and he was able to glove it. You can see his footwork is a little strange here, and he made a nice job of knocking that ball down, and then the easy flip to Sharp covering first base. Big play.
Now second, third, 2 outs for Jeff Taylor. From Northwestern High School in Rock Hill, South Carolina. First pitch swinging, and this should end the inning, and it will. Caden Grice goes to the bag himself, but the Spartans strike first here in Clemson. There's a look at Clemson's lineup. Again, much like the Spartans, 7 right-hand batters against a lefty starter, but Sam Hall, coach, big time, straw that stirs a drink energy at the top of that order the last dozen games.
He's made a huge difference for this lineup. It allows Meredith to move to that number 2 position. Love his athleticism, not only offensively, he's getting on base half the time, but also defensively, very athletic defensively.
And you see in the 7-hole, Davis Sharp hitting for himself here early in the ball game as the pitcher. And the Tigers will go against Sawyer Worrell. It's the same guy that started in the first meeting between these teams, so Clemson has seen him. He threw a couple of innings, gave up a run. Overall, the numbers pretty good. That walk-to-strikeout ratio is something as a coach you got to like.
Yeah, he's a typical left-handed pitcher, but he can pitch despite just being a freshman. Throws a mid to upper 80s fastball, a little curveball, but his go-to pitch is a plus changeup. And that really neutralizes right-handed hitters. And he'll use that any count.
Difficult, especially for a guy who's not throwing hard to begin with. You give that changeup, and he goes, if you're used to seeing 93, 94, all of a sudden you're seeing 87, then you drop down even further. It can really mess with a hitter.
Well, pitching to a great extent is locating and messing up the hitter's timing. And a lot of guys that throw 92, 93, if they don't do much in terms of changing speeds or locating well, college hitters are going to catch up to them.
We'll see if Sam Hall can. Again, the junior from Hampstead, North Carolina. And Coach Smith told you, look at that OPS. These numbers fantastic since he came into the lineup. The guy was out for a couple dozen games, and
he's only started 11 games.
But in 38 at-bats, he has really made his presence felt, and there's a big swing and a miss on the first pitch from Worrell.
81 mile an hour. I believe that was a fastball, but as you see him get into the glove, he puts when he's in the glove on the ball, he's got a change-up grip.
And I think we may have seen it. Nothing in 2.
You don't really have to try to stay up the middle against a guy like this because he's going to change speeds, and when a guy's got a plus change-up, you've got to try to hit it right back at him. You get involved in trying to pull the ball.
0-2 pitch to Hall. Foul tip into the mitt. What a start for Worrell.
Look, that looked like the change-up. That was really well located. Yeah, that one just disappeared.
Boy, tough. And right there, you talked about changing speeds. 81, 84, 77, those 3 pitches to Hall.
And all well located.
The one out here is one of the 2 left-handed batters in the lineup for Clemson today, Kier Meredith. He'll take strike 1.
I liked Kier's been bunting a little bit more. I think it's something that taking advantage of his speed and just adds another element to his offense.
Average up to 300. In his last 17 games, he's 26 for 66, and he'll do that as well as anybody. That's now the 13th time that Kier Meredith has been hit by a pitch this season. He came in tied for the 10th most in school history in a single season. Here's a look at that one.
Well, he's got that elbow pad there, and he's not playing dodgeball. And, I think Meredith's resurgence has coincided with Hall's entrance into the lineup. I think it's made him feel much more comfortable.
Here's James Parker with a man aboard at first and 1 out. Meredith will run on occasion. Parker, a big swing and a miss.
That ball's down and away from Parker, and again, that's a pitch that's got to go to the right center field gap, and if you look out there, huge gap in right center field.
Parker was really mired in quite a slump, and then had 5 hits and 15 at-bats against Louisville this weekend.
Good pitch. Excuse me, but first pitch down and away, second pitch down and in.
So now where do you go?
Go to that changeup.
0-2 pitch. Throw over to first. Meredith not far off the bag. Just trying to keep him close if they can. Talked about the way the Spartans pitch, the way they hit. They fielded a 967 clip. That's pretty decent too. That ball's ripped to left field for a hit. Meredith will stop at second base, and the Tigers now in business in the bottom of the first.
And he did go to the changeup, but it was right down the middle and up. So you can see the changeup grip, and that ball was belt high down the middle. Parker doing a nice job of staying with it. Didn't try to do too much.
You don't want to make that mistake to this guy. Well, we talked about him in the open. Caden Grice, best player in the country last weekend. 9 hits, 4 home runs, 12 runs batted in. He reached base 12 times in 16 plate appearances over the weekend.
That's Little League statistics.
Sure is.
Yeah, you're going to see a breaking ball with the lefty up there.
And then the distances of those home runs. We talked about the one that went out to right center field, 474. You saw him admire it, and I think I would too.
I don't hit a golf ball that far with my driver. Another breaking ball. Now this is where Caden, I think for him to develop as a hitter, you certainly don't want to take his aggressiveness away from him. I mean, it's 6'6", and he's huge up there and got all this power, but if he can shorten things up a little bit here and put the ball in play, when he puts the ball in play, he's pretty good. He struck out 49 times.
A .415 hitter with runners in scoring position. One of the best things about his game is the ability to shorten up with 2 strikes. Here is the 0-2, and it'll be a bluff throw to second. These are the spots where you would expect a freshman to kind of weakly wave at a breaking ball off the plate, but Grice has been able to hang around and then take a ball the other way when they go away from him, especially left-handed pitchers.
I'd be surprised to see anything near the strike zone.
One ball, 2 strikes to count. USC Upstate got the early run off the leadoff walk. Tigers didn't get a leadoff man aboard, but a hit batter and a single. Meredith and Parker, and now Grice in an RBI spot with 1 out. And another throwback. They'll chase Meredith. Now, is this really about keeping Meredith close here, or is it maybe to throw off Grice's timing a little bit, maybe let everybody think about it?
Well, I'm not sure that it throws off Grice as much as the pitcher's thinking about that guy at second base, and Laurel might make a mistake.
We'll see what happens here. 1-2. Swing and a miss.
Another breaking ball.
Big strikeout there, second of the inning. Worth another look or two.
Oh, that was his changeup. Yep. Ooh, good pitch. Just perfectly located. Outer third. 75 miles an hour.
That's a big second out, and you got to think a pretty good-sized jolt of confidence going into this exchange with Adam Hackenberg. Hackenberg led this team in RBIs last season. He also missed some time due to injury and is hitting .296 with men in scoring position. He's driven in 11.
Well, really, whoever follows Grice, really important. Someone who's got to be productive, because otherwise Caden Grice is never going to get pitches to hit.
1-0. There's a breaking ball. Flutters in for strike 1.
Flutters.
Try to make people break out the thesaurus.
Yeah, I like that.
Morrell's pitched around the 2 one-out base runners well against Grice. And 1-1 to Hackenberg, down and in. That's something that Clemson has really struggled with, until the last half dozen games where they won 6 in a row, but hitting with men on base and really pitching with men on base as well. You talked to Monty Lee.
Yeah, and Monty's talked about that. They're trying to, again, maybe shorten up a little bit in these situations and just put the ball in play and, let things happen. Yeah, look, it's hard to score when you're striking out. There's that changeup.
2-2.
Getting slower and slower. That was 75 miles an hour.
The ball just looks like it's sitting there.
Well, he's got the great arm action. I mean, it's coming out. His arm looks like a fastball. It's coming out of the same window. And instead of being 83, 84, it's 75. And it's hitting his timing.
2-2 pitch. Hackenberg down the line. That is a foul ball. I'll tell you what, he hit a pitcher's pitch that time on 2-2.
He fought it off. Yeah, that ball was down and in, and Hackenberg was just not able to get his hands inside the ball enough to keep it fair.
Tiger catcher from Palmyra, Virginia. From the same hometown as Clemson men's basketball star Amir Sims. Among the graduates honored yesterday. 2-2 pitch. Again fouled away.
107 Clemson athletes graduated yesterday.
Unbelievable.
That's why they're here.
That's right.
Yeah. Use the ball. Don't let the ball use you. That's why you get that degree. Yeah.
That's spoken like a true coach right there. Well, and it is a part of the student-athlete experience, the student part, that sometimes get overlooked because we're watching them play a game. We're not watching them go to class. Again, a foul ball.
Hackenberg hanging in there against, again, a changeup. Most guys that they're not going to use their changeup more than, maybe once, twice in a row. Worrell, he'll throw it 4 or 5 times in a row.
He's not bothered. He's burying that pitch, too. The good location like you talked about.
Well, he got the one changeup up to Parker, and Parker laced it into left field.
Hackenberg's seen a steady dose of changeups here, and again, he awaits the 2-2. Little nubber is nobody there, and everybody's going to be safe. Go back to third, Meredith in there. Boy, that was perfectly placed. We saw the Spartans benefit from a couple of those the first inning, and turnabout's fair play.
Well, that's right. McIntosh really playing behind second base and deep. And you've got Worrell falling towards the third baseline, so he wasn't able to get to it. And Hackenberg showing a little speed going down that line.
A lot of hustle.
The catchers.
I was going to say.
The catchers, I love it.
You might take a couple pitches here to give him a breather.
Yeah.
Bases loaded now for Briar Hawkins. Just 4 RBIs on the season in 68 at-bats. He hammers this one back to left center field, and it's deep, and it is caught at the wall. Great play by Taylor coming over in the gap. Hawkins robbed of extra bases, and the Spartans keep their 1-run lead. Mike McGuire, head coach at USC Upstate, got to be proud of what his team has done this year after a nice stint at Morehead State, Coach of the Year in 15, and he's working his way toward a Big South Coach of the Year this year. What a fantastic job he's done.
He's done a fantastic job. He's had a good opportunity there. He felt like this was a diamond in the rough, and he's had good cooperation from the administration, and he's spent a lot of time in the Upstate at Winthrop. So he's been around a little bit and a really, really good baseball coach.
2-0 this year against the ACC. Win against Clemson and a win against Georgia Tech earlier this year, trying to make it 3-0 here tonight. First pitch swinging, Cameron McIntosh fouls it back. McIntosh, a multi-hit day back in March when these two teams squared off. 285 batter. Sharp having a hard time locating that breaking ball. He
hasn't thrown it for a strike yet.
Quickly ready to go, and he's trying to find it there. He might have gotten a gracious outside corner.
My goodness, yeah.
1-2 the count now for Sharp. Facing the bottom third of the Spartans' order here in the second.
I believe that's the first hitter he's gotten in front of to this point.
1-2. The only other one was Noah Raybon. He was 0-1.
Right.
Hit the fly ball, but other than that, he's been behind everybody. You're right. Defensive swing there to stay alive from McIntosh.
It was, and you saw him just saying, I'm just going to fight this off and try to get another pitch. Or dump it into right field. Look at how shallow Henderson is playing. And actually Teodosio as well.
Foul ball away.
And part of that is the function of this wind is blowing straight in today at Doug Kingsmore Stadium.
Now, you mentioned that when we went out to break. There's ball 3 from Sharp. But you mentioned that a lot of times that fly ball from Hawkins is out of here, but the wind's blowing dead in today.
Usually it kind of pushes over towards left field and the ball carry really well to left center field, but that ball was knocked down.
Ball 4, good at bat from McIntosh as he works a walk to lead things off. And Hennessy didn't have to work quite as hard. Jack Hennessy at the top of the order, but he walked to lead off the top of the first and scored. And you know, as a coach, you see that leadoff walk. Offensively, you feel great. And if your guy's out there on the mound, you're going, uh-oh.
I'm not sure what the percentage is, but it's significantly high. Leadoff walks that score. There he goes.
And runner going, and a line drive to right for a hit. And again, first to third advancement on the single to right, and the Spartans back at it with nobody out here in the second.
Beautifully executed hit and run. Maynard just got a pitch. They faked the bunt, got a pitch that was up a little bit and away, and he was able to just basically play pepper with it, shot it into right field, and you've got first and third, nobody out.
Yeah, Damon Maynard, aggressive early in counts, and now another bit of international flair. Julian Ripp in the 9 spot, the right fielder, a native of the Netherlands, takes strike 1. Scored a couple of runs against the Tigers in their first meeting. Again, he'll square. When you're aggressive like the Spartans, not only have they stolen 44 bases, but they've got an 80% success rate, and a lot of guys do it. The possibilities are endless in this situation.
Tough to defend.
Breaking ball bounces. Julian Ripp, the 9-hitter, and very frequently you say this about the 9-hitter. Big South Player of the Week. Look at that, 6 for 10, 6 runs batted in this weekend.
Yeah, it's .298 on the year. This guy's been producing from the 9-hole.
Clemson with 6 straight wins coming in. The Spartans with 7 straight. You mentioned in the open, both teams with win streaks. These are two teams playing arguably their best baseball this season right now. Foul ball up and away, and now Sharp's ahead, 1-2 against the 9-hitter Ripp.
Tigers playing double play depth, willing to concede the run on a ground ball to the middle infielders.
1-2. Tapper to the left side. Parker can't make a play. That's going to go in the book as a single and an RBI, and again, a softly hit ball, and nothing the Tigers can do about it. It's 2-0 Upstate.
Just put the ball in play and run. It looked like a slider and not a very good swing at all, but just well placed, and I don't think Parker had a play on that one anyway.
Well, you wonder, as softly as that was hit, if maybe mentally he's between plays. You're thinking, you know, you got a late breaker at third, maybe you try to get him at home. You got a speedy guy running at first. You know you're not getting the out at second.
Yeah. And
you almost wonder if he didn't really know where he was going to go with that one.
I don't think he had a play anywhere. It looked to me as if McIntosh did have a pretty good jump at third base. And, I mean, there's been 3 hits by Upstate that really haven't been hit very hard. But when you put the ball in play, especially with guys in scoring position or a man on third base with less than 2 outs in particular, good things happen.
Davis Sharp's gone 1 time through the order. We mentioned this is his first time on the mound in almost 2 months. And they're going to let him at least start that second time through, try to build him back up. And this is a critical juncture here. You know, in the first meeting between these teams, USC Upstate exploded for 5 runs in the second inning, had a 6-1 lead basically before Clemson knew what was happening. And this is, again, a danger zone here against Jack Hennessy.
A lot of options for Coach Mike McGuire. Yep, could possibly bunt.
Oh, and he hits Hennessy to load the bases. Square on the leg. That didn't feel good, but I think they'll take it.
Well, you know, you feel like if they're going to give you an out, go ahead and take it. Looked like a slider, yeah. Slider that was just way. It actually hit him on the left elbow, but that wasn't even close.
Well, we talked about Sharp's issues locating that slider. He's missed to that side of the plate every time.
All day, yes.
There's a fastball. He just reared back on that one. It was fouled back by Raybon, who had the sinking looper to center field that Teodosio tracked down back in the first inning. Bases juiced, nobody out, and already 2 runs across.
Well, at this point, you just say, you know, I would take 2 more runs scoring. If Bonnie Lee's thinking that, you know, of course, you don't want that, but good breaking pitch there. But you know, in reality, if you can get out of this with just 2 more runs being scored, bases loaded, nobody out, you know, kind of live with that.
Tell you what, you get a punch-out pitch here, it changes the dynamics an awful lot in this inning. 1-2 pitch, swing and a miss. That's big for Davis Sharp, the first out, worth another look at it.
Good looking slider, started over the inner third of the plate. Might have been a curveball as much as anything. That one broke a lot. Yeah, it was 76 mile an hour, so more of a curveball, and big pitch for Davis Sharp.
Now a lot of possibilities here. If the ground ball comes on the infield, Devin Buckner, easier said than done to get him out. He singled in the first. And a strike called there. .357 hitter and a .382 batter with men in scoring position. This is a highly productive hitter with men on base. Oh, nice breaking ball there. It's 0-2.
Buckner with, yeah, you mentioned earlier, 36 RBI. And he's only hit 2 home runs. Yeah, that's getting it done.
Missed with that breaking ball. Spartans have hit Sharp 4 times. 2 of those hits have come with 2 strikes.
I'm not sure any of the base hits have been really hit well. But well placed. That hit and run ball was as good as any. And there you see what would be considered to be not a very good swing, but he fought it off.
The more pitches you see, the more likely you are to see one you like. You see Buckner choked up on the bat just a little bit. Hitting with 2 strikes. Breaking ball off the plate, 2-2. These are tough hitters too. The ones that'll see 5, 6 pitches, they make you work for it, even when you get them out. Bounce or foul.
Well, he's only struck out 20 times this year in 139 at bats. That's pretty solid. He has more walks than he has strikeouts.
And this is a team, they'll strike out a little bit, the Spartans, but they have also struck out 93 fewer times than their opponents have. Now time called, everybody resets. Runners leading at every base. Boy, these are tough pitches. Early in a ball game, already down 2.
Stressful.
Ground ball. Parker to second. He stumbles and gets the double play. And Davis Sharp gets out of it, allowing just 1 run. No further damage after the bases loaded and nobody out. How about this? James Parker,
Well,
6-3.
Boy, he just made a fine jump on that ball. Big play.
There's a look at Monty Lee. Maybe a little less stressed than a couple of weeks ago. His team playing their way over 500 in the league. The resume speaks for itself, but again, he's coaching a hot baseball team right now.
Well, I think he handles, I think a team is a reflection of their head coach many times. And when they were struggling, they go through the 6-game losing streak, and then I think they had a 7-game losing streak. And, you know, he just kept a steady pace. Let's get a little bit better today. And as a result, he's got a Clemson team that's playing pretty good baseball right now.
Down 2-0, and now his pitcher at the plate, Davis Sharp. First pitch from Worrell is down in the dirt, and the numbers don't wow you for Sharp, but he really got off to a slow start, was hurt. We talked about that. That's kept him off the mound, even as he's been playing first and DHing some. He's had some big moments here lately. A walk-off home run against Wake Forest, had a big home run over the weekend against Louisville.
Well, you know he can hit. I really think that his injury, his elbow problems, even though he could swing the bat, it wasn't comfortable for him. So it may have changed his swing a little bit. And he's a talented young man.
So got a lot was expected of coming into the season from an MLB draft perspective, and some of that may have gone by the wayside, but there's nothing you can do now but try to build some of it back up, when healthy, trying to produce. One-two pitch from Worrell. Good breaking ball in the dirt.
And he is the essence of pitching, of a pitcher. I mean, he, again, changes speeds, locates, can throw a strike with 3 pitches.
2-2, a little bit low. You know, it's interesting from a coaching perspective. You know, they say you can't teach height. There are things you can't teach, and so
right.
You want to acquire those. Would you rather have somebody that comes in ready-made like this with that mentality to pitch, or would you rather have a stuff guy that comes in and you teach to do these things?
I like potential.
Ball 4, Davis Sharp, a leadoff walk. And that's the 3rd out of 4 leadoff batters that have walked in this game so far.
Nothing more is more fun than watching a young man and helping a young man to improve, and to see the light bulb come on. And that's to me the best part of coaching.
It happens with different times, with different guys. Everybody's a little bit different. Elijah Henderson, a sophomore. He had the light bulb come on last year and really played well in the shortened season. Getting a start in right field. The first day off of the year for Dylan Brewer so far this year.
Yeah, facing the lefty, I think it get Henderson back in there and give him some at-bats here.
Morrell now with a man on base, and Henderson lifts it to right. Rip is coming in, and he will settle and make the catch. And now Bryce Teodosio. I think this guy is a tailor-made bottom-of-the-order hitter that's going to find a way to get on base, use his speed, and flip the lineup around.
Well, he gets on at almost a 370 percentage. And he is, I like him in this spot too, because he can do a lot of things. He runs, obviously, hits a little bit, hits with power. Make a mistake to him, he can deposit into the left field seats.
Good breaking ball there for a strike. Morrell starts him off 0-1 with the leadoff man Sharp aboard at first. Morrell's been all over the strike zone. 70% of his 30 pitches, 21, have been strikes. And that is hit right to the shortstop. Could be two, but won't, because Teodosio's speed extends the inning.
It was interesting to have the second baseman. He was literally playing behind second base. The big shift here. And you could see him running basically from behind second base, but no chance to get Teodosio.
Interesting choice for Matthews that time to flip it underhand. You feel like to get him, you had to go overhand, but at least you make sure of the first out.
Or he's got to really run it and put more juice on it.
Inning continues for Sam Hall. He squares and takes a strike. Sam struck out on 3 pitches his first time up. That was our first clue that Worrell was dialed in early. Worrell occupied with Teodosio. That's 3 looks at him, and now time called.
Yeah, he was never going to pitch that ball. That was something from the dugout that they said, just relax here for a minute and let that base runner get all tense.
Always interesting to see how different pitchers and different teams try to control that run game. Now the 0-1. Strike 2. Good fastball.
Pretty big strike zone today. Will Prestwood behind the plate, and he likes the outside. He likes the outside. You know, if he's consistent, both teams need to make an adjustment.
Worrell 1 strike away from getting out unscathed here after the leadoff walk. Throw over to first, just checking Teodosio.
Would not be surprised to see Teodosio go here 0-2. At least 1-2, because then you have the lead. Even if he gets thrown out, you've got Hall leading off the next inning.
I think Worrell is on that same wavelength as well.
Back.
And again back. Teodosio, if he's trying to race, pretty upright.
Yeah, he appears aloof about it.
Yeah.
He's not in a real athletic stance, but if he goes first move, it kind of known as a walking lead, and he goes first move and just guesses right, he can get a base.
0-2, and Hall just does get a piece.
And you look at that infield, they're not nearly playing Hall to pull as much as they did Teodosio. Teodosio had a huge hole to hit through, but instead grounded it to the shortstop.
You see that infield.
You can see the big 4-hole there.
0-2 pitch from Worrell off the plate. He wanted that.
Well, he's gotten it a few times. And again, you know, if an umpire has a big strike zone, I've never had a big problem with that. Just be consistent.
1 ball, 2 strikes now to Hall. Worrell's pitch in the dirt, and Teodosio staying right there. That's a good block behind the plate, because it does not take much for Bryce to go.
Yeah, Bryce maybe didn't read that in the dirt as well as he should have. That ball, yeah, good job by Maynard to smother that. You know, with 2 outs, you know, you might have wanted to see Teodosio be a little more aggressive there, get into scoring position.
Break even. Inside, and Hall's worked the count full.
Well, he's going now.
Yes, he is. He waited long enough. And he can't get a walk-in lead. Gallagher not even going to pretend to hold him on. It's a big pitch for Worrell with Meredith, who's been good with men on base, sitting in the on-deck circle. Again, a foul.
Again, a changeup. 74 mile an hour. And again, I think the approach has got to be take it up the middle. If he tries to come in on you, you know, it doesn't have the velocity to really beat you inside.
If you're Hall here, you almost got to sit change up and try to foul off a fastball at this point. 3-2. Ball 4 in the dirt. Teodosio, I was going to say, he might take third if it scores far enough away. He thought about it. But Maynard able to block it well, and now Meredith is up with 2 on and 2 outs. Gere was hit by the second pitch that he saw back in his first plate appearance. That is the 13th hit by pitch for Meredith this season. And I got to say, he's wearing that armor on his elbow, but it missed his elbow.
Yeah.
Two on and 2 outs here for Clemson. Breaking ball strike.
Yeah, you see a steady diet of breaking balls against the left-handed hitters for Worrell. Against the righties, you're not going to see as many breaking balls, but you're going to see that changeup.
Meredith hitting .343 with runners in scoring position. And almost 400 in his last 17 games. There's a big swing and a miss. He fooled him with that breaking ball. And Meredith, 26 hits in his last 17 games. He's hitting .394 over that span.
And again, I think that having Hall in the lineup has really springboarded his success.
Breaking ball away. We told you Worrell pitched against the Tigers the first meeting. He started that game, gave up an earned run on 4 hits with no walks and a strikeout. Through 2 innings, faced 10 batters. So he's basically done the same thing here tonight. See if he can keep the Tigers off the scoreboard. A 1-2. Ground ball, foul.
Just a freshman. I mean, and that's the most impressive part of it. A lot of times you'll see a guy that's been around a while that can locate and throw 3 pitches for strikes. Unusual to have a freshman do that, but And I'll tell you what, you can play baseball for a long time as a left-hander, locating and throwing 3 pitches for strikes.
Especially if you got a good curveball like he does for lefties and a good changeup like he does for righties. Again, a 1-2 pitch due Meredith. Line drive, right center field. That's down for a hit. Kier's going to try to take second. The run scores. They are going to throw the stop sign on Hall, and he scrambles back. The Tigers on the scoreboard here with Meredith's RBI double.
Another changeup that was just up a little bit. Hennessy did a good job of getting over there and cutting that off. I thought that ball was destined for the gap. Easy double, but Teodosio just was not able to turn that corner fast enough, and he did a good job of stopping it, and that was the right play. He was going to be thrown out.
And coming into the game, we knew Meredith red hot at the plate, a .343 batter with men in scoring position, and he delivers once again here to bring Clemson within a run. Here's James Parker. Right off the end of the bat, he fouls one off, and he was the guy for about the first half of the season that was the contributor in these 2-out RBI situations.
Well, anytime you have your shortstop hitting in the 3-hole, it indicates he's a pretty good player. And he does a good job in the infield as well.
He certainly does. Saw him turn a double play.
Big play.
Yes, he did. Back in the last half inning.
Fastball down.
Worrell's starting to labor a little bit. He had an 8-pitch exchange with Hall, a 5-pitch exchange with Meredith this second time through. Much different than when he was kind of working his way through fairly rapidly and efficiently the first time. 1-1. Foul back.
Kind of an interesting dynamic here with the shadows. And you've got Worrell in the bright sunlight, and Parker sitting he's still in the sunlight a little bit, but that ball is coming into the shade. It's kind of hard to pick up spin.
Worrell ahead again, 1 ball and 2 strikes, just as he was to Meredith. Here's his pitch. Line drive to left for a hit. 1 run scores with Hall, and now Meredith joins him, and Clemson's got a 3-2 lead.
Great job by Parker to sit back on that changeup. Didn't try to do too much with it on that 2-strike situation, and laced it into left field, and Meredith easily scores from second base. Got a great jump. Tigers take the lead.
Not quite as hard hit, but very similar to the first single that Parker had when he was down 0-2 and got a base hit to left field. And now here's Caden Grice. He struck out. One of 2 that Worrell struck out in the first inning today. Strike taken. Good pitch on the outside corner.
Breaking ball. That was a good pitch. He's going to see a steady diet of those, I think.
A little bit of work going on in the USC Upstate bullpen down the third base line. It's like a right-hander heating up down there. Good scoop behind the plate by Maynard.
And another breaking ball. That was well done. And, given free bases, just absolutely, it's a good way to get beat. And Maynard has twice really saved a situation where an opportunity that I think Teodosio maybe could have gone.
1-1 outside.
Nothing but curveballs.
I'm not sure I'd throw Grice a fastball either. I think Louisville threw him about 8 too many. Now he's in a fastball count. big swing, and now the ball gets away from Maynard. Parker's going to take second on the pass ball. Boy, right on cue. We said a lot of nice things about him.
Yeah. And he just lost his focus a minute, or a split second, and yeah, that was a pass ball. 3 bases. Look at the shift on Grice. I mean,
that's an interesting dynamic given the way we've seen Grice hit the ball the opposite
the other way.
field.
But I think when he does that, he goes
swing and a miss.
Nothing but breaking balls.
If he doesn't put it in play, it doesn't matter where you shift him. Big strikeout ends the inning, but the Tigers lead it by 1 after 2. Back on March 9th, these two teams faced off, and it was all Spartans from the get-go. See an early run. They tacked on 5 in the second. This was the punctuation mark right here. A grand slam by the right-handed hitting Jack Gallagher. He drove in 7 in the game, Coach. This was a statement win for the Spartans in Game 10 of this season.
Well, they certainly came in not intimidated. And again, this is an experienced club, a lot of junior college players, and they play like a veteran team. And they came in and played very well and came out with a win. But as we mentioned earlier, you're facing a different Clemson team now, a team that's playing with much more confidence. And so it's going to be an interesting night. But don't think that the Clemson Tigers have forgotten about that game on March 9th.
Oh, no doubt. They're going right to the bullpen here after a couple innings from Davis Sharp. Nick Clayton, his 15th appearance, and he is a strike thrower, a 28-7 strikeout to walk ratio. And there you see him pounding strike 1 with 93. Jason Matthews, a batter, an RBI single in the first. Bounces one up there. He was really in a groove, and then Clayton's given up runs in back-to-back outings against Georgia and Wake Forest. He did get a win back on April the 25th when Clemson walked off. Here's a 1-1.
Just a prototypical pitcher's body. Long, lanky, real loose arm.
Another one of the, I would say, first or second year freshmen that Monty Lee is going to. A couple of these guys like Clayton and Hoffman in the bullpen were freshmen a year ago, but of course you get that year back.
It's really changed college baseball.
Yes, it has.
Yeah, a lot of guys are going to be eligible for the draft after just playing really 2 seasons.
2-2 pitch.
And it probably more than that, a lot of guys are back that would have been drafted last year.
Well, there's no doubt that there was a clogging of the pipes when the Major League Baseball draft went from 40 rounds to 5, and now they're only going back to 20. So it kind of forced some guys back into college baseball, and they're not going to flow out at the same rate that they once did. And it will be interesting to see what happens with the draft coming up in July, because you're going to have a lot of guys, like you said, guys who maybe could get drafted 3 times, and they've got a lot more bargaining power.
Well, we talked about in the past the advantages of going to college if you want to play big league baseball. Ooh.
Right in the back. Jason Matthews hit by the pitch for the 3rd straight inning. Clemson puts the leadoff man aboard without benefit of a hit.
Again.
He just overthrew a fastball, maybe. That hurts.
Well, that's the third inning in a row that Clemson pitchers have either walked or hit a batter, and
you talked about it. Those are the base runners that score.
It seems like it, and certainly, Hennessy in the 1st inning walked, and he scored. McIntosh in the 2nd inning, leadoff walk, he scored. Those are their 2 Spartan runs to this point.
Matthews leading at first now. There's a bouncer to third. Hawkins to second. They'll try to turn it and will. 5-4-3. Big sigh of relief for Nick Clayton there to see his infield play good defense.
Taylor made double play. Good turn by Hall. Good feed, good turn.
Those are the things that don't sometimes show up, but that's really part of your appraisal of Hall and his value to this team, because a lot of second basemen, that's not a double play because they're not able to turn it quite as quickly.
He got there, got his left foot on the bag. Good feed from Hawkins and you know, good arm strength. Yeah, it was solid double play.
Big shift on in the infield for Jeff Taylor. Grounded out to Grice his first time up. Clayton way ahead of him now. Beautiful night here at Doug Kingsmore Stadium. I know you were supposed to look at the shift, but I was just looking at the clouds. It's a pretty sky.
Well, this is a beautiful park. This is one of my favorite college parks, if not the favorite. It's not a cookie cutter. It's just got a lot of character. Great setting for baseball.
Swing and a miss.
He waved at that.
Roundabout 1-2-3 inning for Nick Clayton, a hit batter, the double play. Well, the Tigers went to the bullpen to start the third, and the Spartans will do the same now. Austin Morgan, a local product from Easley High School with a sub-3 ERA.
He's got a good arm, upper 80s, low 90s, sinking fastball, and a good slider.
You see the numbers there, giving up less than a hit an inning. 12 walks, a little bit high, but 26 strikeouts, also a good number for Morgan. And you mentioned it off the top, you don't need to throw Worrell 6 innings in this game because the Spartans will use a lot of pitchers, and they're all effective.
Their bullpen is deep, and it's good. As is Clemson's. Clemson's bullpen has been very, very effective this year.
3-2 Tigers lead, and boy, every time you go to the bullpen, I know you're playing a bit of a dangerous game, but you got to feel good, like you said, both teams, about the arms that you're bringing in. Here's Adam Hackenberg. Down low, sharp breaking ball for Morgan.
Good slider. That slider had some bite. I talked to his barber.
We're trying to figure out, it's hard with the hat to figure out exactly what that is. A little mohawk action, maybe a little mullet-inspired faux hawk or something back there.
I could grow that back there. It's on top that I have trouble.
Boy, I wish. Enjoy it, kids, while you still can. 2-1 the count now.
It's got to be a big game for Austin Morgan, coming from Easley, growing up here in the shadow of Clemson.
Oh, absolutely. You got to love that. That's one of my favorite things about these in-state games where Clemson and South Carolina get to face smaller opponents, where a lot of guys who maybe grew up wanting to play for that school, they didn't get to. They get to play in that stadium at least and maybe exact a little revenge. Ball 4 is Hackenberg, a leadoff walk, and the trend continues. The leadoff men getting aboard.
And by walk or hit by pitch, all of them.
Briar Hawkins, he missed a double in the gap with the bases loaded. Taylor.
I think that wind did knock that down. The wind is not blowing nearly as hard now as the sun begins to set.
And Hawkins, no home runs on the season. Boy, that would have been an interesting first one.
Yeah.
Morgan going to have to get out of this from the stretch. There's a high strike called against Hawkins. A lot of traffic on the bases both ways. We just mentioned the leadoff base runners, but it's not like it stopped there. A lot of traffic that these pitchers have had to deal with both ways so far in this game.
And it changes. If you're always pitching with men on base, especially with men in scoring position, the stress level for a pitcher is drastically different.
Oh, 1 is bounded foul. And you never know. I mean, some guys deal with it fine. Some guys are perfectly fine allowing a leadoff walk and they just work around it and it's fine. Some guys, when they do that, they kind of fall apart a little bit. And that's got to be kind of frustrating as a coach, too, because there's not much you can do in that situation.
I was just going to say, when there aren't any coaches who are happy with the leadoff walk.
0-2, a long look from Morgan in. That ball's hit in the air.
A hanging slider.
Rip is under it to make the catch. He covers a lot of ground out there in right field. A good athlete. He's gotten to some balls fairly quickly where he had to run a long way here early in this game. One out, and Hackenberg stays at first. Here's Davis Sharp, who moves into the DH role for the remainder of the game. Walked his first time up. And was forced out at second base. Part of an attempted double play back in the second inning.
And I think Sharp is a guy that, if Clemson is going to continue to improve as a team, he's a guy they got to get going. You put him down there near the bottom, he's in the 7 hole, but you put him near the bottom of the order, and if he can start producing in a big way, I mean, he's
ripped down the left field line. That's more what you're talking about. Hackenberg rounding second to third. They'll hold him up, and Sharp has a stand-up double, his third of the year.
Well, he's a guy that when he was a freshman, he was in the 3 and 4 hole sometimes. He was really swinging the bat well. Here's a fastball that's in a little bit, hit down the line, hit hard. No chance for Hackenberg to score on first base there. He's still tired from that infield hit that he
never quite recovered.
Yeah. He does a nice job behind the plate.
Ooh, a quick pick at second. And a little bit of a high throw there. That's a dangerous play.
That would have been close. Yeah, that would have been close had it been a good throw, but you're right. That's something they've worked on.
That's the second time Morgan's done it this inning. He did it at first when Hackenberg got on to start the inning. Now Elijah Henderson. Fly out to right field his first time up. Takes upstairs. This is an area where Henderson really was good a year ago with runners on base. He did drive in a run when he came into the game Sunday against Louisville on a ground out, but just a 143 batter with men in scoring position. He wanted to cut at that one, but a good pitch by Morgan.
Slider. He's got a nice slider as long as he's got to break his hand soon enough, get his arm up there in a position so he can get it out front. Otherwise, if he gets his body out front, his arm is not able to catch up, and he's going to leave it hanging.
A good sharp bite on that pitch. We'll see if he comes back with it. He did, and it backed up on him, just like you were talking about. It's almost like you've done this a while and you know what pitchers are capable of doing and sometimes not doing.
Well, I know there aren't many pitchers. I mean, you've got to get your arm in a good position. You've got to stay. I mean, power comes from the ground up, and if his head is way out in front of his arm, there's no way he can throw the ball as effectively.
Runners leading at second and third now. 2-1 pitch to Henderson.
Good hack.
Foul ball away, 2-2. Tigers up a run here. They got all 3 back in the second inning. And they got them all with 2 outs. RBI double by Kier Meredith and a 2-run single by James Parker. There's a 2-2 pitch upstairs. Same spot.
Yeah, dropped his elbow a little bit. And you can see the huge shift. That's kind of surprising with Henderson in there. I didn't realize he was pulling the ball that much. If that's the case, that's something he needs to work on because...
Here's a payoff. Yep. Strike 3 called. That is a beauty for out number 2.
Just buckled Henderson. That was a good pitch. Again, we talked about the bite that his slider had, but the location of that one was just excellent. Started pretty much in the middle of the batter's box and got on top of it, had a little sink, and had some good bite.
I'll tell you what, that is a gutsy pitch. I know you got a base open there at first with a 9-hitter coming up, but that is a gutsy 3-2 pitch in a 1-run game.
And again, first base being open was the key there.
Now Teodosio, who so far in the game you can make the argument had the biggest offensive play of anybody. So he takes the strike because he beat out a ground ball that could have been a double play, kept the inning going, and the next 3 reached for Clemson.
Great point. Really good point. And that's just hustle, desire.
Oh, 1 pitch from Morgan. Hit in the air, foul.
And that is also why the first thing they do at any tryout camp is run the 60. Speed. I mean, if he's much slower than that, I mean, the inning's over and you don't get 3 runs. So.
And those are little things too. I mean, when Clemson was scuffling, when they had those long losing streaks, a lot of times those things were not being executed very well. And sometimes that's all it takes. Morgan a strike away from getting out of this one. Ground ball to third. Throw across. Got Teodosio. And the side is retired. Morgan strands a pair. And it's Upstate's turn. Down a run in the 4th. Clemson a 1-run lead. A 3-2 advantage here in the 4th against USC Upstate. 2 hot teams coming in, including Clemson, Coach. And, boy, what a job to sweep Louisville. No team had done it since the Cardinals joined the league, and no team had done it from any conference since 2011 against the Cardinals.
Well, Louisville's had an outstanding program for a long time, but a huge weekend. Great pitching for Clemson, both starters and from the bullpen, and then their offense exploded.
Clemson piled up 31 runs on the Cardinals pitching. Not much Dan McDonald could do. And that is a Louisville team that last night rebounded by beating Vanderbilt 7-2. So one of the top teams in the ACC. Cameron McIntosh squares to bunt and takes down. And Clayton back out for a second inning work for Clemson. He worked around a leadoff hit batter and retired the side. Got himself a double play ball from Gallagher on his behalf. 2-0 down low, 3-0. We talked about Clayton. He and Hoffman, 2 redshirt freshmen that don't walk a lot of guys. You rarely see Nick Clayton fall behind 3-0.
That seems to have been the trend in this ball game, like getting a leadoff walk or hit by batter. And
3-0 pitch. There's a strike.
Clayton has a really nice, fluid delivery, good mechanics, kind of effortless.
Strike 2 at the knees. And McIntosh, the walk of shame.
He better be ready to hack this time, because anything close, that umpire's going to. Good pitch, right on the corner. Either that or you apologize to the umpire. Hey, didn't mean to show you up, sir.
You better do it twice.
Yeah.
Payoff pitch. Slashed away, foul. McIntosh walked and scored. He fought a 2-2 count into a walk his first time up. Saw 8 pitches, and he's about to see his 7th pitch here in this exchange.
Look at how far he's up on the bat. He's just playing pepper.
Slow roller. Clayton's going to try to do it himself, and the throw is high.
Just putting the ball in play with 2 strikes.
Swing and bunt.
I think he had him with a really good throw. It's tough, but what Clayton did that I didn't like when he fielded the ball, instead of staying low and athletic, you saw him stand up. And this kid's 6'5", so he stands up and he throws the ball high.
Yeah, if Caden Grice has to leave the bag to go get the ball at 6'6", you're in trouble. And a bunt foul by Damon Maynard. And this is where USC Upstate is at its best, because they will bunt guys over. They can run the bases a little bit. There are a lot of different ways that they can start putting pressure on you right here at the bottom of their order.
McIntosh has not had a stolen base this year. That's why you're looking at a bunt. You might see a hit and run situation again. I'm not sure how well Maynard handles the bat.
I believe Maynard executed the hit and run before.
Yeah.
One just missed.
Maynard hitting .224, so this is a situation where you just, your catcher up there, he does a good job behind the plate, but you just want to see him have a productive at bat, which means, hey, let's get that guy to second base at least.
Turn and throw just in case. McIntosh, not a big lead, but enough. And when you hit and run perfectly the way that they did, you don't need a big lead to get first to third. Hit in the air, foul, and that's going to go out of play. You know, the first 2 innings the Spartans scored, and each time they were able to go first to third on a base hit immediately after getting somebody on base. That feels like something. I know some teams have lineups that can do it better than others, but it feels like something that you just love as a coach when your team is able to do that.
Well, it's guys that can handle the bat. They can just handle the bat a little bit, and they shorten things up and put the ball in play.
2-2 the count now to Maynard. Another one of those junior college guys. He's a native of Indianapolis and a double transfer from Illinois State via Olney Central Community College. He's been around. This USC Upstate team, they are filled to the brim with junior college guys.
That has been Mike McGuire's game plan, and it's obviously worked very, very well to this point.
Pitch from Clayton, hit in the air to right. Henderson over on the line, makes the catch.
Now, in order to do that, to bring in a lot of junior college players, you need to have an administration that is cooperative. There's some schools that no, we're not interested in those type of students. I happen to have coached at one. But other places, they say, yeah, we want students, and if it helps your program, bring them on.
And what's interesting when you look at this roster, there's an international flair.
Yeah.
And a lot of the high school guys that they've recruited, Julian Ripp is one of the international guys, because he takes low, but a lot of the high school guys that he's brought in just a couple of years are in-state guys. Mm-hmm. So he's going in-state out of high school. Mm-hmm. He's going junior college. He's going international. And it creates an eclectic bunch that's able to have a personality. Ball's hit well back to left. Meredith on the track will make the catch.
And that was well hit. Looks like it shortened up to bunt a little bit, the fake bunt, and then drew his bat back and put a good swing on it. And Meredith able to catch it right up against the wall. He did a nice job of getting to the wall and then actually coming back in towards the infield a little bit to make the catch.
Meredith, a guy that tends to play deep in left field, so he didn't have far to go back on that ball.
Now he's moving in now.
And Jack Hennessy, he's been aboard twice and hadn't had to take the bat off his shoulder. He walked on 4 pitches his first time up and then was hit by a pitch. The first pitch he saw back in the second. Scored the first run of the game for the Spartans. That one bounces and gets by Hackenberg, and that'll put McIntosh into scoring position with 2 outs.
Now I would think you would really see the Clemson outfield shallow up a little bit. That ball's about 3 feet short of home plate, and Hackenberg didn't have much of a chance on that one. Tried to glove it, but Johnny Bench would have had problems making that play.
McIntosh now leading from second. It's a tying run.
That's a good pitch.
Low knees for Hennessy, but missed a little bit below those.
A little down, but that is a good pitch.
Hennessy, freshman from Moore, South Carolina. And we mentioned at the top his brother Jacob, a left-handed starter and reliever for Clemson. Ground ball to right, should end the inning and will. 4-3 the put out. And the Tigers will take a 1-0 lead to bat in the bottom of 4 after this. Clemson got going in a 3-run second coach. It started with Kier Meredith, and James Parker cleaned it up.
Meredith with a big double, and then Parker, solid single with men on second and third. Inning started with a walk. We talked about that. Now that walk didn't actually score, but he was forced off second base. But we've had every inning, every half inning, we've had the leadoff runner on.
The only guy that wasn't was Sam Hall to lead off the game for Clemson
right.
in the
That's
bottom
right.
of the first. He struck out.
Yeah.
But besides that, you're right. Six of the 7 half innings so far, the leadoff man has been aboard, and only once with a hit. Hall did walk and score back in the second inning. He shows bunt and takes a strike. And a new pitcher for the Spartans here. Give that to you momentarily. Downstairs, Derek Sivek is the new arm, the lefty. Right out of the Spartans bullpen. After Morgan gave an inning back in the third and stranded 2 guys in scoring position. He worked himself into trouble with the leadoff walk, gave up the double to Sharp, and then got out of it. Pitch, rip through the hole, and a leadoff single for Sam Hall. There's another leadoff base runner in this ball game. I hear the numbers on Derek Sivek. No record, just 7 1/3 innings. How about 11 strikeouts in 7 1/3, though? You know that this guy's got good stuff when you see that stat line.
Only 3 walks, throws strikes. That was a fastball right over the middle, and Hall didn't miss that.
6 feet, 175-pound sophomore, native of Fort Mill, South Carolina. Came to the Spartans via USC Lancaster. And how do you know that I live in South Carolina? Because I say Lancaster. Yep. Kier Meredith takes low for ball 1. He's had a good day today. And he bunts right out in front of the plate. That's a good one. Sivek turns, and it makes a good throw to get him out.
That was well done. Both offensively and defense. Good execution of the sacrifice bunt. Excellent job by Sivek to field it, be athletic, and make a very strong throw. See, he stayed low.
That's a fourth sacrifice bunt for Meredith. That now leads the team. They've had 16 on the season, have the Tigers. Here's Parker. Takes inside ball one. That's a bit of a controversial decision there, and it always depends who's managing and who's trying to make the calls from the dugout, who's at the plate and who's behind him. Bunting the leadoff man with nobody out over to second. And now Sam Hall, a running start. He's going to take third.
And I think that's part of the reason that you'll see the sacrifice bunt against a left-handed pitcher. You got a left-handed hitter. It's probably easier to run on a left-handed pitcher when he's at second base than at first. Easy stolen base for Sam Hall. And that's, again, a dimension that you put him in the top of the lineup, and he can do a lot of things.
Hall now an even 4 for 4 stolen base attempts. Runner at third, less than 2 outs with Parker at the plate. He tries to lift the ball and pops it up into foul ground. Catch made by Gallagher, and that's not what Clemson wanted there.
Well, the infield was playing back. I mean, they were given a run on a ground ball, but that ball was up a little bit, and Parker unable to get on top of it.
We give James a break a little bit. He's 2 for 2 with 2 RBIs. And now Caden Grice, who's not put the ball in play yet today.
Probably going to see a steady diet of breaking balls again.
And he sees strike one just like that. Grice over the weekend, 9 for 13. He struck out 3 times. So on balls in play, he hit 900. And the ball gets by the catcher, and the run will score. Hall gets a cheapie to extend the Tigers' lead.
I'm surprised, I think that's a pass ball.
Yeah, I think Maynard I think he'd tell you he should have had that one.
Oh, yeah.
Another look at it.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. They're going to give a pass ball there. It's one of those borderline plays.
But again, you go.
Ball's hit to the right side on the ground. 4-3. The put out as Grice is retired, but the Tigers manufacture one to extend the lead. Just a gorgeous night here in Clemson, South Carolina. Alongside Ron Smith, I'm William Qualkenbush. We're so glad to be bringing you this ball game tonight. Clemson a 4-2 lead over USC Upstate through 4 innings. And time to look now at ACC standings before we get back to the action here. Clemson now with 6 straight conference wins, Coach, tied for 3rd in the ACC Atlantic Division with some big series coming up.
Yeah, huge turnaround for the Tigers. They were really in tough shape there for a while in terms of possibly not even getting into the ACC tournament, but that's all changed.
Exactly. Boston College, Wake Forest, Duke down at the bottom. Those are the teams really in the danger zone right now as far as the ACC tournament goes. But in a twist of fate, it's Clemson that's changed itself, and they were 3 games under 500. 60% of the time since 1999, you see on this graphic, a team in that position has made the tournament, but almost 80% when you go to 3 games over 500, which is where Clemson finds itself right now. And there are a lot of folks that will say, particularly this year where normally, and the SEC is doing this, At 30 of your 56 games are conference. That's about 53% of the time you're playing conference teams. Well, the ACC is playing 36 conference games out of 50. So now you ratchet that up to 72%. It throws RPI off, and it creates a situation where a lot of your teams are going to be at or around 500. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what the committee does with the ACC in particular with so many conference games.
Well, it's a problem that I'm glad I don't have to deal with. I know that there will be. Clemson is a good baseball team. This Upstate team is a good baseball team, both deserving of getting a bid.
Now, USC
from
Upstate,
what I've seen.
Absolutely. USC Upstate sitting at 32 in the RPI.
RPI, right. Clemson's moved up to 51 or 52, so.
If you look around the ACC, as that pitch misses, it's 3-2. If you look around the ACC, there are a lot of teams in that 40 to 60 range with resumes that'll probably get you in. But from an RPI standpoint, I think it does matter. And so this game is increasingly significant for Clemson because their top 2 RPI opponents remaining, even with 9 league games to go, are their 2 midweek opponents, USC Upstate and South Carolina next
right.
week. Raybon fouls it away, staying alive at 3-2. This is the time of year where that type of stuff starts to matter, where you're kind of rooting for teams that you played in the non-conference to win a lot of games. Look, after this, Clemson becomes huge USC Upstate fans.
Exactly.
Another 3-2. Shot foul. Third inning of work for Nick Clayton here. He'll face Raybon and Buckner, and then Matthews for the second time.
This Upstate team refuses to strike out. They just battle.
Ground ball just wide past third. That was very close to getting tucked into the corner.
Clayton continuing to pound the strike zone.
Boy, just fouled down the line. Just a couple of feet there. This will be pitch number 9. Raybon struck out his last time up against Sharp with that good breaking ball. Only 2 strikeouts today, though, for the Spartans' order. Sharp ground ball. And Parker will dispose of the batter for the first out.
Parker, just a solid shortstop. When the ball's hit towards him and you look at the umpire at first base and his thumb's in the air, that's a good thing.
He's a guy that certainly has some big shoes to fill in this Clemson program with regards to the shortstop position. And Monty Lee says, look, I know we've put first-round picks, guys in the big leagues, guys in minor league pipelines and so forth, but this guy's as good as any of them, and he will go to bat for James Parker in that discussion all day long.
Well, again, anytime you have your shortstop hitting third in the order, he's a pretty good player.
A couple of those guys are in the big leagues right now. Brad Miller hit a home run last night. Eli White with Texas. Logan Davidson, a top 10 prospect in the A's organization. And, of course, Khalil Green, whose name is sitting in left center field as a National Player of the Year.
He had some incredible years. I witnessed them all.
Tell you what, Khalil Green and Jeff Baker on the left side of an infield, it's just not fair at all. I just see 3 names: Chris Benson, former #1 pick; Khalil Green, longtime big leaguer; and then Seth Beer, who is sitting in AAA with the Diamondbacks right now, and a guy who is compared a lot with Caden Grice as a power-hitting left-hander who's taken the world by storm as a freshman.
I actually think that Grice runs a little bit better.
I agree with you.
And that's going to really help him. Beer's going to have to, he's going to have to hit his way into the big leagues. He's not going to get many leg hits.
No question. 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss and a drop third strike. And Buckner is sat down 2-3.
That's her second strikeout tonight.
And not been many.
No, really not done a nice job, and had a number of 2 strikes hits where they've just put the ball in play, and fortuitously it's been in a place that they're able to get to first base and the infielders weren't able to make a play.
Well, Jason Matthews, he's been aboard twice, an RBI single in the first, and he was hit by a 2-2 pitch on the 7th pitch of the exchange when Clayton entered the game to start the 3rd inning.
And again, I'm going to go back to Nick Clayton. I really like his delivery. It's just very smooth. It looks effortless. He's got a live arm, good size.
6'5", 215 from York, South Carolina.
Looks like he could fill out a little bit more.
1-1. Did he go? No, sir.
Like a changeup possibly, but that ball darted in.
Like he tried to throw it, but that thing really did dance. Here's another look at it. He did hold back. Patience there by Matthews. Swinging a tip into the mitt that time. One-two pitch here. The 50th thrown by Clayton so far today. Here comes the pitch. Down in the dirt.
I think those are changeups. He's trying to get a feel for that pitch, and boy, if he can, with his slider and his 90+ mile an hour fastball and that really smooth delivery. I mean, he's one of those guys that's 6'5", and he just kind of looks really easy, and all of a sudden the ball's on the hitter.
Ground ball foul. That time he came with a breaking ball. The good thing is we have access to the TrackMan data here. And for a layman like myself, it helps to see the spin rate because a couple of those pitches, about 85, about 1,800, 1,900 RPMs, that one right there at 89, 2,300, so you know he's putting a little spin on the ball.
Right.
Ground ball right to Hawkins at 3rd. Do we have a 1-2-3 inning? We do. For the first time today, Clayton sets him down in order for the Tigers. Halfway home here at Doug Kingsmore Stadium. Clemson a 4-2 lead over USC Upstate. And before we go to the bottom of the 5th, we've been talking postseason here in the last little bit in reference to the ACC. Clemson, really both these teams building nice resumes for at-large inclusion. There you see Clemson, and you mentioned it. All it takes in baseball are a couple of good weekends to radically change your fortunes. Now Clemson sitting at 52 above 500 overall and in the league.
And they're a surging team. I think that's something that the committee looks at. Really pretty solid strength of schedule there as well. And yeah, they were out of it there a couple of weeks ago, and it's changed over the last couple of weekends with the 2 sweeps.
And if you're at 500 in the Atlantic Coast Conference, which would mean if Clemson's there, they don't even have to win, and I'm not trying to set a low bar for anybody. But if you go 3-6 in your last 9, you don't even have to win a series to get to 500. Now, like you said, that would not make you a surging team, and so that may affect the committee negatively.
Right.
But you're Clemson here, you've given yourself at least a little bit of wiggle room with series coming up against Georgia Tech and Florida State and Duke, and 2 tough midweek games against this Spartan club and South Carolina in the next 2 weeks. Hackenberg, a slow roller. The shift will get him as McIntosh makes the throw. 4-3 the put out. And here is that schedule for the Tigers coming up. There is no break here. And then you get to the ACC tournament, and you may need a win or 2 to feel good about your chances there.
A big game. It's, I think the South Carolina-Clemson baseball rivalry is the best in the country. I don't think there's any more interest in a state, and just 2 historically very, very strong programs that love to play against each other.
Oh, I agree with that 100%. And there's a little bias coming from this state, but I think in particular if you say non-conference, because you could say, you know, Mississippi and Mississippi State play in front of 40,000 fans or whatever in a 3-game series. But in terms of non-conference, I don't think there's any question where the best rivalry in the country is. USC Upstate, they've got an argument that maybe they're the best team in this state this year coming into tonight. 30 wins, unbeaten in the non-conference, 2-0 against the ACC. Big swing and a miss as Sivek sits down Briar Hawkins for the second out in a row.
Well, hitting's tough enough, but when you swing at pitches that are well outside of the strike zone, really makes it tough. See, he thought that was kind of a backup breaking ball. You can see he tried to throw a breaking ball there, just hung out there, and I think Hawkins recognized the spin, but the ball really didn't break much. That one did.
Davis Sharp thought twice about it. He's reached base twice today. And the batting average now up above that Mendoza line at 208.
That was cold.
Well, consider where it was.
Yeah.
Somebody get him a blue ribbon. But it speaks to the way that he's playing now that he looks not just healthy enough to be out there, but healthy enough to contribute both at the plate and in the field. Also, now on the mound with 2 innings tonight.
Well, he's a good defender at first base. He does a nice job there.
I think that's such an underrated, especially in college baseball, such an underrated commodity to have a solid fielding first baseman.
It's not what you recruit first baseman for, but it is a bonus.
They've had some good ones here at Clemson. A guy like Andrew Cox, Chris Williams, and you could go back even further, like Ben Paulson, Andy D'Alessio playing first base. Guys that were big boppers that could field a position. Here's a foul tip off the mitt.
Sharp would like that one back. It'll look like a little breaking ball that was right down the middle.
Two pitch to Sharp here with nobody on and 2 outs. Upstate looking for its first 1-2-3 inning. Sharp hanging around. You gotta give Sivek a lot of credit. He gave up the leadoff single to Sam Hall, and I know Hall ended up scoring, but he sat down 5 in a row since then. Bounces that one up there, and now he's put himself in jeopardy at 3-2. Bottom of the order up for Clemson right now. Their job is to flip the lineup around. And you know with the Spartans team, a 2-run lead is not nearly good enough. Monty Lee's not happy with sticking with 4 runs. Hit in the air, foul ground. That's going to drift out of play.
Well, you don't win 30 games by giving up after 4.5 innings and only down 2. They're going to keep battling.
And the way they score runs, too, it's not like, there are sometimes if you're a power hitting team, there are just days where the pitcher's got you. If you're a scrappy enough bunch, you can find a way against just about everybody to scratch across a run. Strike 3 called, and Sharp knew it. A beautiful pitch there after a 9-pitch exchange. A 1-2-3 inning for Sivek. That is worth another look. A thing of beauty to punch out the Tigers. Through 5, it's a 4-2 Clemson lead here in the upstate of South Carolina as the Tigers on top of the USC Upstate Spartans. Speaking of those Spartans, they've done a very good job this year, not just stacking up meaningless wins, but putting together a resume that's worthy of interest, even if they don't win the Big South. You look at the record in the league, very good. That number 32 RPI is enough to open some eyes around the country to the job that this staff is doing.
That's exactly right. The 32 RPI is very, very impressive. They're 2-0 against ACC teams. Strength of schedule a little bit down. That's a function of being in the Big South and not playing a lot of non-conference games. So they've got a big opportunity. This is a big game for them. And we've talked about Clemson's, how big it is for them. It's a big game for USC Spartan, Upstate too.
No, I agree with that 100%. They've only played one game against the top 50 opponent, but they won that game at Georgia Tech back on April 6th. They're 4-3 against the top 100, against that 51-100, so 5-3 overall against the top 100, including that game at Georgia Tech. And one of those is a win against Clemson. So even though they played a lot of their games against lower RPI teams and will continue to do so in the Big South Conference, they've taken advantage. They've done what they're asked to do.
Yes, they're getting the job done, and you've seen why tonight. You've seen a team that can manufacture runs, has solid pitching. They play solid defense, not committed an error. They're not walking many guys. It's a good, solid baseball team, and again, with a team with some experience.
Jack Gallagher, a guy who's got some good experience against Clemson. He takes strike one from Nick Clayton, who's thrown 3 very good innings out of the bullpen. Gallagher 0 for 2 in this game, but had 3 hits in the first meeting, including a 3-run double and a grand slam. Not too shabby.
Clayton pounding Gallagher inside, 2 inside fastballs. That one really had some nice movement, some run, some glove side run, arm side run.
A little bit of work going on in Clemson's bullpen now. 54 pitches for Clayton, and that pitch misses down and away, ball 1. It's a guy who's been used exclusively out of the bullpen so far, and so you start getting through a second time. This is where, as a coach, you start to get a little antsy.
Well, he's had 55 pitches. And for him to come in, and if he can get through this inning unscathed, I think the Tiger coaching staff would be very, very pleased.
There is Monty Lee. Bradley LaCroix on the right. Jonathan French. Day off for Jonathan French, obviously.
Yeah.
There on the left. 2-2 pitch, down and away.
But I do like that French is close to the coaching staff. Young kid, young catcher, listening, learning.
Very talented player, French. When Hackenberg was out, he had to catch every day, and there were some times where he had a nagging injury himself and basically just gutted it out because they didn't have anybody else. That ball is ripped right at Parker, and that is a defensive positioning out for the Tigers.
And it was really a traditional. They
Yes,
were in their
was.
traditional spots. That ball was well hit. Not a difficult play for Parker.
105 miles an hour off the bat,
That
coming
ball was
right
hit.
at your eyes.
Yeah.
And now they'll shift around for Jeff Taylor, who's batting .330 but is 0 for 2 today with a ground out and a strikeout. And he whiffs at the first pitch. You see that shift, 3 on the right side of the infield. Outfield straight away for him.
That's a good sinking changeup, I guess, because his fastball is 90, 91, 85, 86 mile an hour changeup. Certainly isn't spinning much.
That one he left up, and there's a base hit. Clayton had retired 7 in a row since the next batter, McIntosh, singled off him to start the 4th, but Taylor found one he could drive.
Ball not hit real hard, but in fact, the exit speed on that one was only 80 miles an hour. But when you hit line drives,
good things happen.
yes.
You know, baseball's a funny game too when 105 miles an hour off the bat gets caught and 80 falls
Right.
in.
It can break your heart. And the good teams and good players realize that things are not going to go your way all the time. And those who get down about it and then struggle, it seems to multiply. Guys that say, okay, I know it'll come back to me if I keep competing and I keep battling.
Throw over to first to chase Taylor back.
Taylor 3 for 3 on the year. Stolen bases.
McIntosh, a guy that's been aboard twice today. Walked and scored in the second and singled in the fourth. Ooh. Here's a generous strike call there, 1-1.
He's been there all day. He likes that. He's the umpire is lining up over the inside part of the plate, and he is really given a couple inches off the outside part. Will Prestwood.
1-1, taken not far away from strike one. Now it counts 2-1. Starting to get close to the latter third of the ball game here. Clemson has had the lead since the second when they got 3 of their 4 runs. And USC Upstate's been off the scoreboard since then, thanks to that man, Nick Clayton. 2-1 is down low.
Well, we've talked about Clemson's bullpen being so very successful this year and effective. Certainly looking for that kind of performance tonight.
A couple of right-handers throwing for Clemson. There's Rob Hughes on the left, Ricky Williams on the right, freshman. The ball's hit in the air by McIntosh. Teodosio got a good jump on it and makes the catch in the gap. The 3-1 pitch there for Clayton was in a good spot to get the fly out. And, Coach, you brought up the Clemson bullpen. Pretty good unit, all things considered.
Yeah, anytime your bullpen wins 14 of your 21 games, that's pretty good. Only a 3.68 ERA, really good.
And they've really not been hit that hard.
No.
239 opponents' batting average against. There's been walks and carelessness when they have blown leads and lost games has been the issue. Well, down in the Spartans pen, they've got some action as well. Looks like Ben Ferrer down there, sophomore from Alpharetta, Georgia, right-hander, and he looks to be warmed more than warming as Damon Maynard swings and misses.
You know, as much as you want to win this ball game, you have, as a manager or coach, you think about this weekend, and you know you're going to keep everybody ready, everybody healthy. It's it's a big game. We all know that, but you want to keep everybody ready and everybody healthy. So maybe Civic's had enough.
Well, that's interesting. To that point, I believe this is true. I know it's true for Clemson. I think it's mostly true for USC Upstate as well. Clemson has not played a Wednesday game all year.
Right.
So their midweeks have been Tuesdays, which means you get 2 days rest for these pitchers.
Right.
You don't get the benefit of that heading into Friday this week.
And then the last series they're starting on Thursday, I believe. The Duke series starts on Thursday, so.
Approaching the end of the season as quickly as it starts. It concludes. Bunt down toward third. This is a tough play for Clayton, and he throws him out. Is that a better job that time fielding his position?
Really well done.
Clayton jumps off the mound and ends the inning on a good bunt attempt by the Spartans. There's a look into the USC Upstate Spartans dugout. Their team trailing by 2, and they're looking for a new pitcher to keep the score right where it is. Right-hander Ben Ferrer on the mound for the Spartans, the 4th pitcher that they will use on the night.
Pretty impressive statistics.
And he gets hit a little bit, but very few walks, very few strikeouts. A guy that forces you to put the ball in play. And if you can force guys to make contact and have a 1.33 ERA, that'll get it done.
Let your defense make plays for you. And we mentioned earlier that this is a Spartan defense that fields at .965, very solid. And
you see Ferrer on this team, in this bullpen, that's got a lot of good arms. I mean, this is a guy that flat out gets it done. A 115 whip, 3-1 record. And this also a guy who has yet to come out of the bullpen. He's made 4 starts this year in those 27 innings of work. 8-9-1 in the order, going to face him now. Elijah Henderson down in the count 0-1. And 2 good breaking balls to start him out, 0-2.
And then, you see the shift on Henderson. 3 infielders on the left side. Big hole there at second base.
Oh, 2 pitch. Breaking ball in the dirt. Now, this is interesting to me because if you're going to shift Henderson like that, it would stand to reason that you want to pitch him middle in so he hits it that way.
Right.
But we've seen 3 breaking balls away.
Yeah.
Here's a 1-2. And again, misses away. Maybe that's just you let the spray chart speak for itself, and you just tell your guy to throw what he's going to throw.
You do what you do. Yeah, pitch to your strengths. And apparently he's a slider master.
He threw 2 good ones to start.
Yeah.
And tried to make Henderson chase twice. 2-2. There he tried a fastball and missed. Both teams pitched a little better earlier in innings as we've gotten going in this game.
Yeah, a lot of base runners early in the game.
Payoff pitch. Ripped. Backhanded by the shortstop. From his seat he throws and won't get him. That was a good effort by Matthews there because that ball ate him alive.
Really showed good hands there on that backhand play. Just was not able to keep his balance. He kind of slipped. Oh, was hit pretty hard too.
You're from the outfield grass. Derek Jeter's not making that play. And now leadoff man aboard for Bryce Teodosio. Again, a leadoff base runner in this game. They've scored a lot of the time when either team has gotten those leadoff men on, and Teodosio drops one down foul.
Tigers trying to manufacture a run again.
It's a team that has gotten increasingly more comfortable over the course of time, dropping down bunts. Definitely not the forte of the team early. There are some select guys that can do it. Teodosio's one. He's got 3 on the season.
Well, I mean, that's just something that you have to be able to do if you're going to be a good baseball team, because there's some nights that pitchers are just going to be dominant, and if you have an opportunity, you've got to get people in scoring position.
And Bryce tried to drop it down there and just waved at it. 0-2.
I like the way he had his bat at the top of his strike zone, but I would like to see his arms extended a little bit further out front of home plate, because if you get it too close to your body, you lose sight of the ball. Your eyes can't move that quickly. If you get your arms really extended out there, you can catch it with your barrel.
0-2 to Bryce, and he swings through a breaking ball away for the first out. You know, earlier we talked about letting the batter get himself out. That's one way of doing it right there.
Yeah, with 2 strikes, you need to sit back a little bit more. And
runner on first, 1 out for Sam Hall. Top of the order due up for Clemson now. Runner going. Strike called, throw down, safe. First pitch running for Henderson there on a close play.
his second stolen base of the year. He's 2 for 3.
One ball.
When they called it a ball, staying corrected on that. So ball 1.
You know, it's one of those things where I think you're kind of relieved that the guy didn't get the bunt down, and you get the strikeout, and you kind of forget about the runner at first base then.
1-0 pitch in the dirt, and Henderson not able to go because, again, a good job of blocking it behind the plate by Maynard. You don't want to mess around. I know Sam Hall's 1 for 2. You don't want to mess around with him because Meredith, Parker, and Grice in run-scoring situations, that's been the bread and butter for this team when they've had big innings. Those guys have come up with guys sitting at second and or third. And I have a strike to Hall here. And can't quite do it. And now you've got a decision to make here. Do you risk throwing a couple of meatballs up there to Sam Hall, a guy who is capable of running one out of the ballpark? Got a couple on the season and 40 at-bats. There's a well-placed strike.
Well, if you do end up walking him, you set up the double play. But Meredith runs pretty well, pretty tough guy to double up. But you bring the heart of the Clemson order into play then.
Here's the 3-1. Good breaking ball there, dropped into the zone.
Watching Ferrer, he's about 1-4 to the plate, which is not real quick. Ooh, that dropped in there pretty good. 3-1 breaking ball, and that was what they were thinking. Okay, if we end up, walking him, we're not going to give him a great opportunity to hit here. Now it's just, it's all even.
3-2 is fouled back. He came with the same pitch again.
Yes, nice job by Hall to fight that off.
Tigers up a couple of runs here. You feel like they can get Hall here and then retire Meredith. It's a big shot in the arm for this team that really has been quiet since the second inning.
Well, again, this Clemson bullpen has been very effective.
Ball 4, and he can't get Hall, and instead now there are 2 aboard with 1 out. Second time Hall has walked today, and the 3rd straight time he's been on base.
Adding to his .500 on-base percentage. Meredith now hitting .305. Just when I was here 3 weeks ago, it was well below that.
And he's gotten hot here recently for sure, and today he's been productive all 3 times. Got hit in the first, RBI double and a run scored in the second, then a sacrifice bunt. And Hall ended up scoring a run without an additional hit. Part of it was because of that sacrifice that put him at second with 1 out.
Stole third and then scored on the pass ball.
Now 2-0. Ferrer's having a hard time, more so than anybody else has been in the game so far. He's just having a hard time finding the zone.
Yeah. He doesn't look as comfortable as the other guys look very, very confident and comfortable.
This for the Spartans. Worrell threw 53 pitches, 36 strikes. That's about 2/3. Austin Morgan, 19 pitches, 11 strikes. Same. Derek Civic, 29 pitches, 19 strikes, and they're not wasting any time here. The Spartans getting another reliever going just in case Ferrer continues to labor in the game right now. 2-1 the count to Kier Meredith. And again, James Parker waiting on deck. Strike two.
Challenged him.
I'm not sure I wouldn't do it again because those have been maybe the two best pitches he's thrown this inning. Two and two the count. Here it comes. Foul tip into the mitt, and he did throw a fastball right by him.
Fastball was a little bit away.
Worth another look. It's a big pitch.
Ball had a little movement on it, too.
Big second out for USC Upstate. And now James Parker is 2 for 3. First pitch to Parker. Down in the dirt. And gets by, and both runners will advance. Critical errors have been a problem just like that all game long, really for both teams in giving up runs.
3 bases. Yeah, I think that's a pass ball as well, yeah.
So now 2 in scoring position for Parker. Time called, and they may not waste any more time with Ferrer. This may be a trigger here. All the infield is in as well, and they are.
Yeah, it's obviously a big. I mean, Parker got the base hit that scored 2 in the drove in 2 in the second. So
it's a big spot here, and the Spartans will go to the bullpen. We'll tell you about the new arm after this short break. Sean Hupp out on the mound for the Spartans after a 1-0 count for Parker. He replaces Ferrer. And, Coach, this is the definition of high leverage in a 2-run game with 2 on and 2 outs and a number 3 hitter at the plate.
Hey, you bring in the senior who has shown great ability to come in situations like this and get people out. Hupp is 2.89 ERA, 28 innings pitched and 19 hits. 32 strikeouts and only 8 walks. They're looking for, well, just any kind of an out now, but I think they're, Coach McGuire has stepped it up. He said, okay, I'm going to my next level guy here out there on the mound. That's how important this out is for Upstate.
Hupp was one of the 6 pitchers that Clemson saw in the first meeting. He threw an inning and a third, gave up a hit with a walk and a strikeout. He was the second pitcher they saw back on March 9th after Sawyer Worrell, who also started this game. And Parker rips the first pitch foul. Something tells me he might have waited on that.
Yeah, he was looking for a breaking ball.
Parker had a big 2-run single in the second. Maybe the biggest singular at bat of the ball game. That flipped it from a 2-1 Spartan lead to a 3-2 Clemson lead, and now those 2 runs are the difference.
And as you mentioned, all 3 of those runs scored with 2 outs.
After Teodosio beat out the ground ball.
Yeah.
2 balls, 1 strike to count now. And strike called, 2-2. Parker didn't like it.
Neither did the TrackMan strike zone. But he's been there. The outside corner, he's been pretty generous with that all day.
Now you got to expand the zone if you're Parker. 2-2. Swing and a miss. He struck him out, and the inning is over. A good pitching change puts Hupp on the mound, and the score stays at 4-2. Well, the Tigers, they're pretty good when they lead after 6 innings, only the 1 loss, and they're sitting pretty right now, 4-2. Here's what it looked like early in the ball game. We had a lot of traffic on the bases, Coach, and the Spartans able to scratch a run in each of the first 2 innings.
They just put the ball in play. None of the balls were hit really, really hard. Here's the RBI single that barely got over Hall's head, and then an infield single that scored the other run.
And Kier Meredith got Clemson going, a big double, and then James Parker followed it up
with the big hit, the big 2-out single with 2 outs. Again, all of those runs scored with 2 outs.
And then the pass ball, one of 3 pass balls today, has really cost the Spartans.
And that run was manufactured by Clemson. Base hit, and then a sacrifice bunt, a stolen base, and then the pass ball resulted in the run.
And now Ricky Williams in a big spot. Just his 3rd appearance of the season, and the first time we've seen him since March the 20th. He has made 1 start and 1 relief appearance this year. A youngster coming in with a lot on the line here in a midweek battle, and he deals up high, ball 1. Julian Ripp at the plate. He's 1 for 2 with an RBI. Going to make Williams work for it. Good ball 2.
And you see him kind of showing the bunt and kind of let you know he's taken up there. And I think the guys like Williams they have to be careful not to overthrow.
There's a strike on the inside corner, 91 on the gun.
Slow himself down, take a deep breath, breathe.
Wine in the 2-1, a little bit high.
Just a little bit late, breaking his hands.
Williams, a freshman from Lexington, River Bluff High School. There's a strike. Full count now. Line drive past 3rd into left. Wide turn at first. And an excited bounce in the step of the leadoff hitter Rip out of the 9-hole.
Nothing but fastballs, and that was right down the middle, a good short swing for Rip, and he did make an aggressive turn.
And now back to the top of the order, and Andrew C. is going to come out. You wonder if they just brought Williams in to face the right-hand batter, and they may go elsewhere to try to get Hennessy. Let's see, and they are going to go to the bullpen here, and that's why they brought in Williams, a lightly used guy. They just want to get 1 out if they can, and he could not do it. And now Clemson will go to Jeffrey Gilbert, the high-leverage lefty out of the bullpen, and we will take a timeout. We'll introduce you to the Tigers southpaw in just a moment. Jeffrey Gilbert on the mound for the Tigers, a 1.5 ERA. He's been used as a closer and now in a high-leverage spot to try to get a lefty at this juncture of the ball game.
Well, he is obviously a guy that's got some confidence, and obviously the coaching staff has confidence in him to bring him in to this situation, which is a tough one. Now, he's been in that closer role, and I'm telling you, getting those last 3 outs are really tough. But this is a big out too, just like when Coach McGuire brought in Hupp to get the last out last inning. Same situation.
Now with a man aboard, Gilbert will come from the stretch, and Hennessy slaps the ball foul. He's been retired once. He's 0 for 1. Walking a hit by pitch. Been aboard a couple of times today and has been disruptive from the leadoff spot for sure.
Just what you want from a leadoff guy. Gets on base almost 50% of the time.
Thought about bunting, and he takes strike 2 at the knees.
You love relievers that come in pounding the strike zone.
One other thing about Gilbert, he's been pretty consistent all year long at stranding inherited runners. Check swing, and no go, says our third base umpire. It's 1-2. You be the judge.
Good call.
One, 2, and that'll be a throw over to first. Ten for 12 in stolen base attempts for Rip.
Yeah.
Probably not a bad idea to give a check. Probably not a bad idea for him to see if he can pick a spot to go either. Elevated, and that's slapped out of play.
Well, 1-2 is considered a good pitch because, or a good time to go because likely see an off speed, or very well could. Breaking ball, possibly. A better chance to steal a base on a breaking ball.
Always tough on a lefty. Gilbert's got a pretty good move over there, and he goes over there again. And there's no question he flirts with that 45-degree line. Here's the 1-2. Ground ball back to him. He knocks it down and almost threw it by Grice. That'll be ruled an infield single. It could have been much, much worse for Clemson defensively.
That's one of those that a lot of pitching coaches say, let that go. Let the middle infielder handle that possible double play ball. But, you know, your instincts and your competitive juices just make you try to grab it. So I like Hackenberg going out there to talk to Gilbert right here. Just you know, regather ourselves. Tough break.
I know, especially frustrating given that you know that you were brought in when you were to get the left-hander out. And now he's aboard and you got some right-handed hitters to deal with now. Including Noah Raybon. Came in batting .331. He is 0 for the game, though. 4 straight right-hand batters. Now against Gilbert.
Benson looking for the bunt, possibly. Trying to get that tying run to second base.
2 good base runners. And Gilbert bluffs a throw back to second. And they're definitely bothered, and who wouldn't be? We talked about Rip's 10 for 12. Well, Hennessy's 9 for 11. But Clemson playing this pretty aggressively here in a 2-run game with Hawkins even with the bag at third and Grice playing in, presumably trying to get that force. And instead a hack and a foul. That's where the wheels start turning in both dugouts.
I agree. Just don't know what is the best situation, and Clemson's changed their coverage at second base.
Just off the plate inside. Crowd didn't like it. Good call.
Yeah, Clemson very, very aware of the base stealing threat of Rip at second base. They're giving signs, and they changed their coverage. They now have Hall holding the runner.
Long hold from Gilbert. There's a tip into the mitt. 1-2. You got some productive guys behind Rabin here with Buckner and Matthews and Gallagher. As the runners lead, the 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss.
Big breaking ball. Started about thigh high and ended up in the dirt. Hackenberg did a really nice job of smothering that one. Took a little off that too. Good
81,
pitch.
almost 2,500 RPMs. A lot of spin on the baseball. And now Devin Buckner, he's 1 for 3. And a .375 batter with runners in scoring position. That's why he's your 3-hole hitter. Breaking ball, strike. You see the numbers for Buckner.
36 RBIs.
And one of the leaders
with only
in
2
the
home
Big
runs.
South. That's right.
Yeah.
And now Gilbert steps off. You take the bunt out of play, and it really feels like Rabin was never going to bunt, but at least in the back of your mind, you put that aside. Now it's a little easier to just deal with the batter, right?
Yeah. Another good block by Hackenberg. But you know, again, I don't think you can certainly forget about Rip at second base. This guy can take off and go, and
with a right-hand batter too.
yeah.
Now we got time called at the plate. Good old-fashioned stare down right now. Yeah, Gilbert, you saw Hackenberg throw some signs of Gilbert kind of shaking his head a little bit. They may not be quite on the same page. Now they are. There's a 1-1. Ground ball. Could end the inning. 6-4 to 3. A double play to back Gilbert. And the Tigers will stretch with a 4-2 lead over the Spartans. Worth another look. Some fine defense behind the Tigers' lefty reliever.
Tailor-made double play.
.4-2 lead for Clemson over USC Upstate. Here's how we got there. Spartans, a 2-hit day for Rip with an RBI. The 9-hitter Matthews drove in the run. But again, that big at-bat early in the ball game, James Parker, the third of 3 consecutive 2-out base runners with the 2-run RBI single.
2-out hits win games. 2-out RBIs win championships. I mean, it's coming up with big hits with 2 outs is just essential for a good baseball team.
Caden Grice is 0 for 3 today. And I'll tell you this much. I like to find one stat that tells the story of the game. Right now, the stat that tells the story of this game is that USC Upstate is 0 for 5 with 2 outs and Clemson's 3 for 9.
How many have they left on? How many runners?
USC Upstate has 7. Clemson has 8.
Yeah.
Caden Grice, after being named National Player of the Week, he has been totally silenced so far today by the Spartans. Here's a 1-2 pitch to him. He fouls it away.
Well, if he leaves one up there again, he won't be silent for long. He saw that one pretty well. The big shift. I mean, look, there's absolutely no one on the left side of the infield.
1-2 pitch. Fouled away. And it is interesting because he had about 3 or 4 hits this weekend. And really, if you count the Wake Forest series, he
went the other
several
way.
there
Yeah.
where he's hitting the ball toward third base beyond where the third baseman's playing right now.
Right.
But again, playing the odds. And a swing and a miss on a breaking ball. They've struck Caden Grice out 3 times tonight.
It's a humbling ball. It's a humbling game. This game of baseball.
2 looks at that one. Grice, who's had 4 multi-hit games in his last 5 and 5 multi-hit games in his last 7, is now 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts tonight.
Brings his strikeout total to 52.
Hackenberg takes a strike. He's 1 for 2, been on base a couple of times. Only 2 Tigers have yet to reach base. Grice is 1, Briar Hawkins the other. He's on deck. Slow roller. Tough hop for McIntosh, and the throw is wide. Hackenberg's going to try to take second, and he will, standing up. Well, McIntosh did such a good job to field that ball, and then the throw was just wide.
Yeah, it seemed as if he was just a little bit nonchalant once he was able to field it. It's not a position that he throws from normally over there on the other side of the infield. But again, I thought that he stood up a little bit instead of staying athletic.
That's going to be an error. They're going to call it an E4. I think that's correct. A 2-base error, and Briar Hawkins, again, the only guy besides Grice that's not been aboard for Clemson tonight, takes a called strike. Both bullpens, as you would imagine at this point of the game, quite busy. That ball's hit in the air, back into center field. That'll be caught by the center fielder. Hackenberg will tag. A long throw in by Hennessy, and Hackenberg will advance. That was good base running that time by Hackenberg. Definitely. On the high fly ball.
Yeah, definitely. And once you knew that it was going to be caught, he started out halfway. Turned around, gauged that, okay, this ball's going to be caught, and it's pretty deep, so I should be able to make it. Hustled back. He's really going to be tired after doing all of that. But very good base running. They say you don't make the first or third out at third base, but that was, he had such a good chance of getting there. It would have taken a Roberto Clemente arm to throw him out.
I'm Davis Sharp, who's 1 for 3 today.
Looking for these 2-out hits are the Tigers.
And Sharp, again, a small sample size here. 250 with runners in scoring position. That's better than his overall average. And it's better than the team number by a couple of points. Sharp in a fastball count here, and that's way outside from Hupp. It's 3-0. Now you see the 2 relievers. Will Lancaster and Jake Kubler. The 2 arms throwing for USC Upstate.
3-0 swinging. I like it. That's the kind of thing that could get Davis Sharp going, too. Give him the green light, 3-0. You know you're going to see a fastball. It was just up and inside a little bit. It wasn't right down the middle, so.
Ball's hit in the air, down the line, long run, and not going to get there. Rip again, a long way to go. Make it close. You got a guy like Sharp at the plate. You giving him the green light. What has to be true for you to give a guy green light as a coach?
Well, I think 2 things. Either they're really swinging the bat very, very well, or you want to get them going. Well, I mean, one of the 2. And that's obviously to be able to get another run in here. Stretch that lead from 2 to 3 would be huge for them, but I like it.
Strike 3 called. He buckled Sharp with a breaking ball, and Hupp gets out of it, striking Sharp out to end the inning with a insurance run 90 feet away. We'll come back to Doug Kingsmore Stadium in just a moment. A tight ball game here under the lights in Clemson tonight. Tigers lead the Spartans of USC Upstate 4-2. And that big 3-run second inning, the difference right now. Alongside Ron Smith, I'm William Qualkenbush. Thanks for joining us. Tigers with a new third baseman, freshman Max Wagner, the former Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Wisconsin. The Green Bay native that's played a lot of ball out there for Clemson at the hot corner this year. He's in for defense to replace Hawkins in the batting order. Gilbert deals a strike to Jason Matthews to start the top of the 8th. Matthews with more at-bats than any player in the Big South Conference. He is an everyday player if ever there were one. And there's a strike call, and that was a generous corner. I'm sure Jeffrey Gilbert would like that call the rest of the inning.
See if he can put it there again.
I think they're going to try.
Expand it.
It's a foul ball.
Greg Maddox was a master at that. There were some years when he was getting, 2 or 3 inches off the outside corner, and he would put it there with movement perfectly. And during the course of the game, the further they'd call it out, the further he would throw it out.
That's right. Well, you're crazy if you don't, to a certain extent.
Or if you can.
True.
And he can. Oh, and then he comes in on him, just tied him up.
Let's see, that's fair down the line, and they're going to say foul ball.
Yeah.
Well, that was close, and you could hear somebody yelling, pick it up fair, to Caden Grice, and I think he thought he did. He's asking the first base umpire, too. Let's see, this is a close play here. Right down the chalk.
Boy, that's close.
That's very close. Hard to tell. It looks like it is maybe right outside the chalk when he picks it up.
And I don't think Grice had a chance to pick it up fair.
1-2 the count. I would agree with that. That ball had some kind of spin on it because of the... I mean, you could tell Matthews was looking out over the plate. He was totally sawed off.
Oh, yeah. That's just what I was going to say. Great job. 2 outside fastballs and then just in on him and really jammed him, tied him up.
Check swing on a breaking ball there, but good discipline from Matthews to even the count. It's a critical game for both these teams. Still building that NCAA tournament resume. Foul back, and it is critical for Clemson. You could make the argument that it may be even more critical for USC Upstate because in a league like the Big South, you may not have the luxury of just simply, finishing a runner-up in your league in the tournament and then getting an at-large bid.
Because of the strength of schedule.
That's right. 2-2 pitch. Pretty good pitch, didn't miss by much.
Good at bat for Matthews.
He took a close pitch here. Whew. It missed. There's a foul ball back. This is a heck of an exchange here.
Yes.
Because if Matthews gets on, boy, if you're USC Upstate, you're feeling awesome about your chance to get a run here. But if Clemson's able to retire him, then all of a sudden you breathe easier with Gallagher at the plate.
Both players competing here.
Pitch number 8. And again, a foul.
I think Upstate does as good a job of fighting off 2-strike pitches as I've seen this year. They really battle and just say, okay, I'm just going to waste this.
Gilbert, a guy that is not afraid to throw a punch-out pitch either. He's got 45 strikeouts in 37 innings this year. 3-2 one more time. Ball 4. That is a great at-bat from Matthews. I mean, super.
What was that, 7-8 pitch?
That was a 9-pitch exchange.
Yeah, he fouled off 3 or 4. Matthews 7 of 8.
Wow, and I can't count. Let me recount that. Yeah, 11 pitches. That shortchanged the whole exchange. We can't cheat the game like that. And now before Gallagher bats, Andrew C's coming out. There are 2 righties thrown in Clemson's bullpen. And let's see if C comes out to chat with Gilbert. You can tell Gilbert's body language. He knows and he's upset.
Yeah.
And he's pleading his case right now.
Too late.
To try to stay in the game. But Andrew C had his mind made up, and he will go with Nick Hoffman. And we'll tell you about Nick Hoffman coming up in just a second. Tigers trying to protect that 2-run lead with a tying run at the plate when we come back. Pitching coach Andrew C, head coach Monty Lee going to their bullpen, and you think that they hope this is their final change because Nick Hoffman is going to throw strikes. He's got 2 saves on the season. Pretty reliable guy for this Clemson team out of the bullpen.
Good experience. And he competes. Yeah, he's not afraid of the situation.
He threw the only complete game for this team this year. He threw a complete game in the second game of a doubleheader at Boston College. And now he's being used high leverage at the back end of the bullpen, so it's a guy that has shown some versatility this year. Just a couple weeks ago, he was in the weekend rotation.
Well, as the pitching staff, the Clemson pitching staff has gotten a little more healthy. That's what has caused that to happen. But he is seems very comfortable here.
Foul ball back. You saw the numbers. Career, he's faced 198 batters, only 2 walks, 2 hit batters, no wild pitches. It's almost impossible to have that type of accuracy without a dip. That pitch missed, 1-1. Jack Gallagher's 0 for 3. He did hit a rocket right at James Parker his last time up. And he did hit a grand slam against the Tigers late in the ball game back in March. That ball is ripped down the right field line. That had close to enough distance, but foul.
Yeah, I miss the smell of the Cajun Cafe going, you know.
Oh, man.
You know, that was
I like it. At the same time, it is just a tease. They have something that you want. Maybe next year they'll fire up the grill again out there.
Slider.
Hoffman going off speed right there. Two balls, 2 strikes now. Again, a tying run at the plate. And again, a throw over to first. The Spartans today, I believe I'm right in saying this, they have not stolen a base. Oh. Strike 3 called on the outside corner.
But the umpire's been there all day, and that was a strike. That was a really, really good pitch down and away. Gallagher obviously looking for something else.
1 out and a man at first now for Jeff Taylor, who's 1 for 3. But really, there's enough good base running. The reason I bring that up, there's enough good base running on this USC Upstate team that they can really become a problem if you don't control the run game. And Clemson has so far today, other than a couple of hit and run first to third opportunities.
Right.
Taylor fouls this one back, and Hoffman's quickly ahead 0-2.
You talked about controlling the running game. You do it several ways. One, by having a quick move. Another, by getting the ball to home plate quickly once you've started your delivery. And the other one is varying your looks. I'm going to see if we can get a time on Hoffman.
Strike 3. He made quick work of Taylor there for the second out.
And Hoffman's 1.35, but down 2 now. Not as likely to run, you know.
Well, he really moved that fastball up above the barrel.
Climbed the ladder a little bit.
Back-to-back strikeouts for Hoffman, one looking, one swinging. It does strike me that there's a point in the game where you're right. You're not as likely to run with a 2-run lead. Would that have been
two-run deficit?
Or a 2-run deficit, excuse me. Would that have been like 6th inning? If you're thinking I get a run here, maybe a run later?
Yeah, I agree. And now you're down to 4 outs. And boy, if you get a guy throwing out second base, now you're down to 3 and down. And when that run really, obviously it's better to only be down 1 than 2, but it's a big risk. And as I mentioned, Hoffman's 1.35 to the plate, which is about average.
A 1 pitch hit on the ground through the right side. You can advance them that way. You're going to stop the runner Matthews at second base. He'll not try to push it with 2 outs. And Cameron McIntosh, his second hit of the day. Good piece of hitting here.
Yeah, inside out of the ball, and that's the magic hole over there with the runner on first base. The first baseman's holding him on. The second baseman is shaded a little bit towards second base. Big hole.
Now 2 outs and 2 on, and now the go-ahead run is at the plate, and the Spartans now, I believe, are going to call on a pinch hitter, and we will see a change as Mike McGuire going to roll the dice with a new bat. This is Robbie Magaha, 6'1", 210-pound senior from Buffalo Grove, Illinois, Olney Central Community College.
389. That's a nice bat to bring off the bench.
And not too shabby. He does have 8 RBIs and has been money with runners in scoring position. A small sample, but a .600 hitter with runners in scoring position, and he's 5 for 9 with 2 outs. This is clearly his money spot, and you see Adam Hackenberg trying to double-check the scouting report, and Andrew C. is going to come and make sure everybody's notes are correct.
We have to be on the same page.
We talked about Hoffman throwing a lot of strikes. He doesn't strike out a ton of guys, but he struck out the first 2 he faced in this inning. And with a team that puts contact on the ball effectively, like USC Upstate does, Clemson, obviously a punch-out's always a good idea, but a guy like this, it feels like if he gets the bat on the ball, he may be able to do some damage here. 18 at-bats, 8 runs batted in.
You see the Clemson outfield really backing up, trying to keep that tying run.
He took a big cut and fouled it.
The tying run presently at first base, they just can't let a double drop in.
Pinch hitter for Maynard in the 8 spot. There's a nubber foul. Boy, that would have been trouble had it trickled fair. But now an 0-2 count on Magaha. And the crowd will come to life a bit behind Nick Hoffman. Runners will lead at first and second. Here's the 0-2. Swing and a miss And Hoffman K's the side. USC Upstate tries to open the door. Hoffman slams it shut. And we'll head to the bottom of the 8th with the Tigers up 2. Well, we got some great camera operators here at Doug Kingsmore Stadium tonight. Look at this crew. I mean, look at Will back there behind the plate. Terrific. How about Zach? That was creepy, Zach. Khalees there on camera. Very nice. Nice work there in the outfield. Good stuff by our staff here. And there's a look inside the beautiful Jervey Athletic Center studios.
The brains.
The brains of the operation, that's right. Sanders Sullivan, our producer there, bowing for some reason. And Jimmy Mahaffey directing tonight. And again, a couple of camera ops. David and JT, and back because those are the guys that, I mean, they're going to show themselves on camera. Those are the guys that run the show. And in all seriousness, this crew here just does a phenomenal job. It is second to none. When you travel around the league, you travel around the country, it just doesn't get any better than the staff that Rick Bagby puts together every single game.
Yes, great production, a lot of information. You guys are awesome. It's it's great coverage for Clemson and the ACC network.
We hope you've enjoyed the coverage tonight. I mean, all the camera ops. Think about all the great angles we've enjoyed today, for crying out loud. First pitch from our new pitcher. We got a new battery in the game, as a matter of fact, against Elijah Henderson. The new pitcher is Will Lancaster. The numbers for Henderson, who's done a good job in the 8th spot today for Clemson.
That's Garrison behind the plate, number 30, a junior from Shawnee, Kansas.
Another junior college, a double transfer from Marshall and Neosho Community College. Here's a 1-1 pitch. Taken for a strike. Good breaking ball in the back door. There's a look at Lancaster, a 6'3" junior from Lexington, North Carolina. There's a foul ball back. He struck out 6 in 5 2/3 innings, but also walked 6 and given up 5 hits. I call that dancing in the flames a little bit, Coach.
Feast or famine, but I like his delivery, nice and smooth.
On a foul ball catch. Is that, oh my gosh, Zach Grant caught a foul ball.
Did he catch it in the air is what I want to know, or did he?
That's what, I should have watched it all the way in. Yeah, take a bow. That's phenomenal. Get you a man who can do both, ladies. 2-2 pitch. Way up and outside, 3-2. I mean, never once took his hand off the wheel there and made the great catch. And I'm just going to assume he caught it in the air.
Caught it in the air, yeah.
That's the story anyway. Payoff pitch to Henderson. Ball 4 outside. Worked a 1-2 count into a walk right there. Here's the numbers on Lancaster. And there you see 5 2/3 with a 3.18 ERA. But he is, again, another one of those guys that has learned to pitch with traffic. 11 base runners allowed and 5 2/3 is quite a bunch of guys on the bases.
And it's kind of thing that we've talked all night about, the leadoff walk. 70% of them score. It seems like it's better to give up a leadoff base hit.
Oh, for sure. And look, tonight, that's been the case. It is better to give up a leadoff base hit than a leadoff walk. Teodosio lays a bunt down right side, and that's a tough play. Yeah. He's safe. That's a perfect bunt. Really a perfect bunt for a hit more than a sacrifice there.
Again, you push it. You've got a left-handed pitcher falling away from first base. Teodosio pushes it down the line. Easily a sacrifice bunt, but it ends up being a base hit. Or is that an error? I think they probably got him on an error on that.
They have given it a sacrifice and an E1.
Right.
So we'll put that in the scorebook. And now what do you do with Sam Hall in a 2-run game with 2 on and nobody out? Rabin down at third. He's thinking about a bunt, and Sam pulls it back. It's a critical juncture for the Spartans here, because you don't want Clemson to run away from you. You're still within striking distance
no
with
doubt.
3 outs to play with. Fouls it off.
Hall not happy with himself. Coach Lee says, look, if they're coming in really, if they're charging really hard, you can pull it back and move it around a little bit. Take a swing if you'd like, possibly. You know, I think sometimes people say, oh, it's so easy to bunt. Well, it's, you know, it's not as hard as hitting, I don't think, but it's not the easiest thing either, and especially if you don't work at it enough. And a lot of guys don't.
Well, you've been swinging it like Sam Hall is. I know he's taking bunting practice, and he pops that one up, but it's a good bunt down third base side, and he's safe at first. With a hustle there from your leadoff hitter. I know as a coach you don't want to see that ball pop into the air, but it was so shallow that it worked out. Well, that's close.
Yeah, they're gonna reverse this call.
Let's see, and this is going to be reviewed. Ooh, I think he's out.
Yep, this is going to be reversed.
I'll tell you what, live, I thought he was safe. I thought it was a good call by the first base umpire because of the way he lunged. It almost looked like he took up that space, but
the ball's in the glove right there. Yeah, ooh, that's good.
That's close.
Yeah.
And it's a weird play, too, from the first base's perspective, because Gallagher, you got to have the left foot on the bag.
Right.
And present against the bunt, and it takes away your ability to fully stretch out for the ball.
Right.
Frame by frame. This is what we're talking about, the crack staff.
No kidding. That is really good. I think he's out.
I think he's out by about a
frame.
1 frame. That's right. I was going to say, how do you say a fraction of a step like that? If he's safe, bases are loaded, and he's out. And that was a pretty quick review. I like quick reviews. So it'll go in the book as a 5-3 sacrifice for Hall, which, again, they'll gladly
productive
take.
at bat.
And now Kier Meredith is going to bat with 1 out. In a situation where you feel pretty good about Hoffman going in the 9th, but you don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth here if you're Clemson.
No doubt.
And I think, again, the Spartans feeling a little urgency as well, as Mike McGuire is going to go back to the bullpen for his 7th arm of the game.
I wonder if they're going to Davis, their big guy.
We'll see who they go with. It will be Kevin Davis. We'll introduce you to him after a brief timeout. One of 3 transfers from Olney Central Community College that have played the game today. Kevin Davis out of the bullpen. He is a giant mountain of a man. 6'9", 270, a junior, and oh, by the way, he can pitch a little bit, Coach.
0.43 ERA, 21 innings, only 9 hits given up, 34 Ks, only 13 walks. With a man on second and third with a guy with this kind of stuff, you've got your second catcher in there in Garrison. Watch out for a ball in the dirt that goes to the screen. He's got the nice hairdo there as well.
Yeah, they may all have a
might
certain
have something
variant,
going,
yeah, which I'm fine with. His stat line, he can do whatever he wants this year. Doesn't matter to me. You mentioned the wild pitches factor. He has done all of this dealing only one wild pitch. He has not hit a batter.
Infield end for the Spartans.
Critical juncture of the game here. We saw Monty Lee go to his high leverage guys, and there you saw one in the dirt, and that was almost number 2 right there.
Now you wonder if Clemson has the contact play on, which means that if the ball is hit on the ground, regardless of where it's hit, and even if he's thrown out by a blot at the plate, he gets into a rundown, and you'll still have runners on second and third.
Way up high, 2-0. You got to imagine that for a pitcher that's 6'9", you'd like to come in the game facing Grice, sharp, somebody with some height. Kier Meredith is listed 5'10", and I'm just going to tell you that is gracious. He's giving up a foot to the batter. That's hammered to right, way back.
That's gone.
Sayonara. Kier Meredith with a 3-run home run off the top of the batting cage, and Clemson has blown it open here in the 8th.
2-0 fastball right down the middle. Meredith with a good compact swing was able to get his bat head out there. 88-mile-an-hour fastball. That ball was hit 400 feet. Big, big swing by Kier.
Kier Meredith, a ground ball line drive guy by reputation. And Meredith, he's enjoying it a little bit, but not as much as he enjoyed it off the bat. You got to wonder if there's been a little bit of jawing going on, because Meredith, you don't see him turn around and yell at the opposing team very much. But he had some words for Davis.
Yes, he did.
Walking down to first base. And he had some more words for Davis. Right there. Boy, they are jacked up. And I got to say, the first time these two teams played, the Spartans announced their presence here in this ballpark. And it was something that Clemson really couldn't help. Now, we got a new pitcher here, but the storyline is interesting. We'll stay here and tell you about him in a second, but it was a 12-2 win, and the Spartans were chirpy.
Right.
For the entire game, and rightfully so. They kind of stole Clemson's soul in the second inning, and then re-stole it again in the 8th and the 9th, and poured it on, and let Clemson know about it the whole time. So you wonder if there's a little bit of a tit-for-tat element to that outburst by Meredith there.
Little edginess, and actually the way the game started with the very first walk that Hennessy had on 4 pitches, and you heard the Spartan dugout erupt, which is fine. I always kind of wanted my players to do their talking with their bats and their gloves and that kind of thing. But, you got to support each other. Probably best not to talk to the other team much.
100% correct on that. I'm 100% on your same page there. Jake Kubler is a new pitcher. He was the other righty throwing in the bullpen a while ago. 16 innings of 4.5 ERA. And 16 strikeouts to 6 walks there.
Yeah. It's a little humbling for Davis, who came in with such a gaudy stats and big reputation. And of course, he wasn't in a save situation. He was in a situation where you just got to hold him down here. And Coach McGuire went to his best, and, he got behind and left the pitch up. And Kier Meredith just put a great swing on that one.
And Meredith, a 3-run bomb. And again, a guy with a reputation as somewhat of a gap-to-gap hitter, but that's his 3rd home run of the year and probably his most favorite one, I would imagine. James Parker takes a strike in there with 1 out. Pitch from Kubler, and Parker fouls it. It's 0-2. And now because of all that, they got to face Caden Grice again. And it's already a 7-2 game, but
right. You're outside the Grand Slam home run thing. That's always a nice thing for the Clemson Tigers. And it's just the exact opposite of what Coach McGuire wanted to have happen,
correct.
Obviously. How did this inning start, by the way?
I believe a leadoff walk. Parker, a line drive to center field. That's down. His third hit of the day. You know, Monty Lee loves to see that with 3 straight multi-hit games for Parker. Seems like he's starting to find his stroke again.
That does good things for Grice because that gives Grice an opportunity to drive some runs in. But I like that swing because it looked like he got that bat on the plane of the ball early. I mean, the ball's dropping at about a 4% rate, and he got that bat head on the ball and kept it through there. Good swing.
First pitch to Grice is fouled back 0-1. I should correct the record on that. Parker now 3 of his last 4 multi-hit games. He did have an offer on Saturday against Louisville. Caden Grice has not had an offer in a while. He's sitting at 0 for 4 right now with 3 strikeouts and a ground ball to the second baseman. 9 for 13 over the weekend. Pitch missed way upstairs from Kubler.
You know, Davis came in, the big guy, 6'9". It was an 88-mile-an-hour fastball. This was not, I was expecting to see, 93, 95. Maybe he wasn't completely loose. Maybe he wasn't fired up. I don't know.
There's a ball in the dirt. It hits Grice. So Grice's brief hitting streak will likely come to a close, but he does reach for the first time today. Here's the pitch again in the dirt.
Ooh.
Right off the back foot.
That had to hurt a little bit. Yeah, get him out of there and put some ice on that thing.
Now he's going to try to walk it off, but yeah, they're gonna hang on here. First base umpire's trying to get everybody's attention. Let's see, Grice may stay in the game here. I think he is. He's going to try to stay in the game.
Well, he could put Hackenberg plays some first base.
Plays a little first base. Dylan Brewer played first base the first time these teams played, unless you're trying to give him a mental health day, as they say.
Yeah.
You could, well, you used Hawkins already. I was going to say, you had Wagner at third, Hawkins at first is something they've done this year.
You could move Hackenberg to first and
throw French back there.
French over to first.
First and second and 1 out. 0-1 pitch to Hack is taken
ball
for a strike. That was a good pitch. A walk, an error on a sacrifice, then an actual sacrifice. And Kier Meredith dialed up NASA. 399 feet off the top of the batting cage. Almost hit Hackenberg there.
Yeah, exit velocity of 100 miles an hour. Little guy generated a lot of power.
Hackenberg's seen 3 breaking balls. He's going to have to generate a little bit more if he wants to get one out of here. I would imagine he might see another one. And he does, and he swings through it for out number 2. Good pitch here from Kubler to get him.
A pretty good breaking ball there. Location wasn't great, but had some bite. Big swing by Hackenberg.
And now time's called again, and this another pitching change going to be made by Mike McGuire. He's going to go to the bullpen again, and we are going to take a break. This time, we'll familiarize you with the new reliever after this. I'm back here in Doug Kingsmore Stadium, a 9 ERA on the record of Kyle Schmidt, who has no record on the season. 5 innings, 7 hits, a couple of walks, a couple of strikeouts on his resume. And this is just an opportunity, you would imagine, for Mike McGuire to get somebody some work here in a high leverage spot he thinks he may need down the road.
A little experience, again, yeah. You put somebody in there, an opportunity. This is an opportunity for Kyle Schmidt.
He is the 9th pitcher of the day for the Spartans and the 4th in this inning. Will Lancaster started the inning, Kevin Davis followed, then Jake Kubler, and then Kyle Schmidt.
Nine pitchers, wow. Clemson's used 5.
That really is becoming the
norm almost.
The norm in midweek.
Yeah.
This is off the plate. Max Wagner's first at-bat today. Freshman from Green Bay. Had a couple of early home runs this season, and the power has waned a bit. The glove has not. And he launched that one. It's foul, though. That might be laying at the 50-yard line. Mercy. Wagner started a bunch of ball this year. Briar Hawkins getting the nod at third base. He's kind of split those reps with he and Blake Wright, who was actually the starting third baseman in the first meeting between these teams. But he's stuck, even as his batting average dropped, and he dealt with typical freshman struggles at the plate, with strikeouts and things like that. He stayed in the lineup because he plays a really good third base.
Yeah.
Two-1 outside.
Almost always you're going to put your best 9 hitters in the lineup. Almost always.
Particularly now with the analytics and the data that everybody has, I guess the theory is that you can make the defense move to make it easier on yourself. You don't need to necessarily range at all the positions on the field. Here's strike 2 to fill the count up. Which I don't know if I fully subscribe to. I still like to have good defense out there.
Well, you got to be strong up the middle. You got to be good behind the plate, good at shortstop, center field. Those are positions you better be pretty good at, and of course good on the mound.
Wagner, a ground ball past third. That's going to plate 1, and they're going to wave the second runner. Wagner's into second. 2 runs are scoring. It's 9-2 Clemson. Two-run double for Wagner off the bench to keep the inning going for the Tigers.
Ball, it looked like some kind of a cutter or something hit right down the third base line. Good swing by Wagner, and Tigers are tacking on a few more runs and pretty much putting this one out of reach.
Here's Davis Sharp. Had a good start to this game. Threw a couple innings on the mound, walked doubled, and he struck out looking his last 2 times up. And he is the 9th man to bat here in the bottom of the 8th. A 1 pitch, runs in.
Here's a guy coming in here throwing 91, 92, good size. He hasn't been used much. Kind of lets you know what kind of arms they have coming out of that bullpen for Upstate.
It's a very good, deep, old, experienced baseball team. That was a come-and-get-it fastball. It's 1-2. Spartans will be in Big South play for the remainder of the season. So we're talking about that RPI sitting 32, but unless you run the table, it's going to be hard to keep it there, which they're very capable of doing. It's a little bit high, and Schmidt wanted that call.
Showed a little bit of frustration. Kind of a hanging breaking ball.
Two pitch. Strike three called. Sharp is punched out for the third time, but that's not the story of this inning. The Tigers got 5 runs. The first 3 driven in by this guy. He liked it for good reason. The Tigers up big heading to the 9th. (9-2) the Clemson lead over USC Upstate, and oh, the symmetry between this game and the first between these two teams 2 months ago. 2 big innings decided that one, and unless the Spartans can mount quite a rally here, 2 big innings will have decided this one. 3-run second and a 5-run 8th for the Tigers. Nick Hoffman back on the mound. And the pitch misses in to Rip, who's had a good day. A couple of hits and an RBI on his resume. USC Upstate won 12-2 in the first meeting. They got 5 in the second and 5 in the 9th. Clemson's up 9-2 with 3 in the second and 5 in the 8th. Ball's hit a mile in the air. Wagner's going to run out of room.
Ooh.
And that one almost took casualties.
Yeah, there was an oblivious woman walking out of the park.
Yet another reason why you don't leave the ballpark early. 3-2 count to Julian Rip. Hit in the air. Teodosio is there. 1 away. Back to the top of the order, Jack Hennessy. He's 1 for 2. Scored a run. Spartans came into this game winners of 7 in a row. That'll be Clemson's win streak if this score holds. There's a strike.
You know, anytime a team they had a 7-game losing streak, meaning Clemson, and a 6-game losing streak, and yet they're about to be 22-18. They played pretty solid baseball other than those 2 particular streaks, and I think many times when you go through those adversities, you come out stronger on the other end if you stay together, if you continue to work at it and believe in each other, and so you know, you just get a little bit stronger as a team, and obviously they're playing with good confidence now, and a part of that was a function of getting some guys healthy.
There's a strikeout of Hennessy for the second out of the inning. We talked about it at the Open. This is a much different team than the one that the Spartans saw 2 months ago because guys are slotted in roles and they're healthy and comfortable. The guys that need to be in the lineup are in there.
And understanding their roles, yeah.
Now a pinch hitter with 2 outs. Once again to the bench, Mason Stewart. It's a nice moment for an Easley native. Saw that earlier. He takes a called strike with the reliever Austin Morgan, who threw an inning. Went to Easley High School, just 20 minutes up the road. Fly ball to right. That should do it. And it will. Henderson puts it away, and the Tigers pick up their 7th consecutive win and avenge an earlier loss here at Doug Kingsmore Stadium to USC Upstate. And, Coach, they did it emphatically tonight in all 3 phases of the game.
Well, they did. Outstanding pitching, especially from the bullpen. Just did a great job. Bullpen did not allow a run after the 2nd inning. And then the 2-out hits. They scored 3 runs in the second with 2 outs, and Meredith with a key double in that rally, and then of course the huge 3-run homer he hit. That was fun to watch.
And we talked about the RPI implications of the game. A quality top 50 win for this Clemson team to tack on the resume.
Well, it certainly is, and this is a good way to go into a conference series at Georgia Tech for the Clemson Tigers.
And no doubt about that. A good crowd here, a great game here tonight. Back and forth early. The Tigers took the lead, and they held on for dear life until the 8th inning when they erupted for a 5 spot to put the final score at 9-2. For Sanders Sullivan, our producer, our director, Jimmy Mahaffey, for our great staff and crew here at Doug Kingsmore Stadium at Jervey Athletic Center, for my broadcast partner, Ron Smith, I'm William Quaggamus saying so long. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on ACC Network.